Hello! As promised, this is part 2 of reading and watching the entire Twilight Saga. The original 4. I'm not reading the special, like Edward specific retelling of the first book, and I'm not reading, I think it's Crimson Sun, I think it's gender flipped version of Twilight. I'm not reading those two. Unless someone wants to buy them for me, then sure. Actually, we have the Edward one, I'm just not reading it. But if you really want to see that, someone would need to buy me Crimson Sun. And we'll see how that goes. Just let me know. Yeah, because right now, these 4 are enough for me. They're enough. Also, I know there's another one, like the Something Life of Bree Tanner. I'm not reading that either. I'm just reading the 4 core books. So far, you have seen me read Twilight, New Moon, and little over half of Eclipse, I think. And I've given my thoughts on all of them. This video will start with my thoughts on the rest of Eclipse, and then it'll get into New Moon, the movie, Eclipse, the movie, and then all of Breaking Dawn. My wife, Krista, is also joining us because she has seen all the movies and read all the books, and she just wasn't really in the first part because she's been really busy. I've been filming sort of just in times when she wasn't home, unintentionally. It just like was the fastest way to film, but we're gonna actually sit down and talk about the movies and the books and all of that stuff. So there's plenty coming in this second half. I am very intrigued if you came back from the first part, because I said a lot of things and I'm probably going to still say a lot of things. So we'll see how that goes. So I hope you enjoy this. Also in this video, my hair should be more purple. There's like a little purple in it right now, but I'm getting my hair done, after I film this today. So yeah, I will have more purpley hair in the rest of this video. But I wanted to film the intro clip, because I am uploading, the first part today. So I just wanted to make sure that I got this all set up and ready to go. So I hope you enjoy these Eclipse clips and Eclipse clips. That is so weird to say. There's also some couch building, which is unrelated to Twilight, but we built a couch and I wanted to include it because it was a wild time. So I hope you enjoy this second half of reading and watching all of the Twilight Saga for the first time ever. Bye for now, internet people. Hope you enjoy. Good morning. It's cold. We went from being in the 70s to, it's at least 32. It's probably lower. So my hood is up because I'm cold. It is early. I am tired. So I'm making coffee. I'll start this crazy thing. It might be for me and I might have to add more water. I'm not sure. But I read frick ton of Eclipse yesterday. So I'm now on page 506, which is chapter 23. I read so much, but because we haven't had time to watch New Moon yet because, Krista had court and the weather was awful. So like getting to and from court was bad. I wound up going with her, and we just wound up coming home. We were gonna get dinner in 37. That just didn't happen because the weather was truly awful. The wind was so strong we almost got blown off the road. Like it was really bad, and it was snowing like out of the blue. So that was fun. But I read a bunch during court, so the judge was very nice, and I just sat back and read. What have I read? Oh, I've read many things. Okay, so chapter 15 is hot garbage and I hate it. So they have Jacob become more aggressive because he's a werewolf now. And he, like, wants to kiss Bella and he kisses her and she's saying no and he still does it. She goes completely limp. Then she punches him in the face and breaks her hand because he's, like, the same as Edward in terms of being made of stone at this point. And I'm just like, what? And then, like, she goes home, her hand is broken and Jacob is not apologetic at all. He's like, you broke your own hand punching me. And on top of that, it's so jerky. And then when he gets her home and her dad asks like what happened, he's like, oh, I kissed Bella and she punched me. And he's like, attaboy. And I'm like, he doesn't physically say attaboy, but that's how I read it. And I'm like, he assaulted your daughter. She even calls it assault later. And Jacob's like, it wasn't really assault. I said I'm sorry. It's still assault. It's still freaking assault. Like, ugh. And I liked Jacob and I'm just annoyed. Like, why would you do that to his character? Why make him so aggressive that he can't take no for a freaking answer? Like, ew. Then later, Charlie's like, oh, how's your hand, Bella? Like, if a guy wants to kiss you and you don't want him to, you have the right to defend yourself. And I'm like, did someone tell her to add that line in? Because I was like, he's so attaboy to Jake. And then he's suddenly like, oh, yeah, you deserve to defend yourself. Like, a full chapter later, 2 chapters later or something. And I was like, this is garbage. Like, I was so mad. Also, Renee does not come to her graduation because Phil is sick. And I'm like, okay, like I understand Phil is sick, but it does want more water, but I made my coffee first. I understand Phil is sick, but she's your only daughter, like your only child at all. And I'm sure a lot of it was because if they wrote Renee in, it was just gonna take up space in the story that couldn't be there, because like there's no way that Bella could like spend time with Renee with everything going on, because her room, she thought initially had been cleaned, or like Alice had like taken stuff out of it, but no, Alice doesn't have any of her stuff. This will be delicious. So Alice doesn't have her stuff. Someone literally like stole all of her things. And then it turns out, so there have been these murders happening in Seattle in this, and it's been like mentioned throughout. And it turns out that based on their reading it, the Cullens have determined it's a bunch of newborn vampires. So the newborn vampires have Bella's scent. Like someone gave them her clothes so they could find her. So now the newborn vampires are coming for Bella. We then get all of Jasper's backstory, which includes how he like trained armies of newborns for this like southern takeover thing that was happening, which oof. And he's apparently also covered with like vampire scars because the vampires fought each other. I'm taking a sip of this. This has really fun International Delight Dunkin' Cold Foam on it. It's very nice. It makes me feel fancy. If you didn't know, I did coffee and one of these little espresso pod things. I'm out of them now, but I call this a dead eye. I try to make fancy, and I'm extra tired, so I want the caffeine, but I'm taking a sip and then I will keep talking. Okay, so the newborns have her scent, and Edward thinks it's the Voltari, but Bella thinks it's Victoria. And they're like disagreeing on who would be making these, because he's like, no, the Voltari would have done this, and she's like, no, like, because they also think maybe like the Voltari are having someone do it. And so I'm like, is Victoria working for the Voltari? And it's really everyone is correct, but we're all disagreeing with each other. The wolves have also agreed to help the Cullens, so they're going to work together because Jasper can teach them how to kill newborns. I need a drink of this really bad. But the problem is everything has escalated. The newborns are coming. So like Bella had to go into hiding. So like a misdirect hiding. So she, Edward, and Jacob have gone into the mountains where it is super snowy and super cold. I.e. kind of like here. It's not as snowy though, but we get a lot of snow. It's probably worse there, but we've had a lot of snow this year and I hate it. But they wind up hiding in the mountains, and Bella is freezing because it's super cold. Edward can't warm her up. Jacob, he could warm her up, but Edward's like, why don't you go get a space heater, like mentally, because he and Jacob just keep talking like mentally. Also, Edward is learning a ton about the wolves, because since the entire pack is connected by their minds, he can see like all the thoughts of everyone, and he learns that Jacob is the second in command. Turns out Jacob is supposed to be the alpha and he doesn't want to do it, which is really odd to me. Like, he's a natural at it. He has like, he's the one making decisions to join the Cullens. Like, he'll like make the decision, be like, oh, but we gotta run it by Sam, and I'm like, you're already acting like the alpha. I get that the whole setup is like, he doesn't want to be a werewolf, he doesn't want to be part of this pack, but still, like, you're acting like the alpha anyway, so it doesn't matter. I think I'm still just really, really pissed off about chapter 15. But he like says, go get her a space heater, and Jacob's like, why would I get her a space heater? I'll just warm her up. So she winds up in like a compromising position with Jacob, where he's being a total creep and pissing Edward off. And like, Edward is trying to be a less controlling person, even though he's the one who's like, we have to go, like, we gotta hide her, like all this stuff. But like, Bella convinced him not to go fight, and now she's worried that him not fighting is going to cause problems for everyone else. But like, he does not like that Jacob is the only one who can keep her warm, and like Jacob is thinking all these very gross things that are making him very angry. Also, Bella wanted to have sex with Edward, and Edward was like, no, we can have sex, or we can try to after we get married, so you have to marry me. So that's so interesting to me. And she's even like, shouldn't the argument be the reverse? Shouldn't I be arguing we get married first? He's like, so would you and so he winds up proposing, and she does agree to marry him, but like, she also says like she didn't want to marry him because she didn't want people to look at her funny for getting married right out of high school, like someone who's gotten pregnant. And I'm like, you're gonna be with him anyway. Like, people already think your relationship is weird and they look at you funny all the time anyway, so just marry him. Like, it doesn't, I don't understand the hang up about this when you want to be with him for eternity as a vampire, but whatever. He does propose, he shows her the ring, she does not have the ring on. Alice has figured out that he proposed. He also gave her a charm because Jacob gave her a charm. He gave her like a fancy diamond heart. that glitters, because Jacob gave her like a hand-carved little wolf to wear. Alice has found out. Alice wants to play in the wedding. Bella has relented. And I think, is that as far as I got? Hold on, let me see, because I read a lot of this last night and I'm so tired. Yeah, no. That's where I ended. With the keeping her warm in the woods. So the big action is coming, officially. Though there has been like wolf vampire mentions, like there was almost a fight at some point in the book, but it didn't happen because they thought someone crossed the line, and it turns out they didn't, or there was a whatever. The werewolves didn't kill the vampires didn't try and kill the werewolves. They're in a tentative like treaty because they want to kill the newborns. So like that's the whole setup right now. I'm still really pissed we decided to make Jacob a creep right now. I don't like it, and now he's like, oh, I love her and I think you should give me a year to like prove that she could love me back. And I'm like, dude, she doesn't like you. Like, just let it go. And like, I want to like Jacob because Jacob was so nice to her and like her best friend, and she still keeps saying he's her best friend, and just pissing me off that the writing for him has completely changed now that he's a werewolf, and like he hates not having the privacy. So like, I'm sure some of it is supposed to be like he has all these wolf hormones or whatever, making him extra roar, and like he doesn't have any privacy in his brain, so like all the other wolves are in his brain, so maybe they're affecting like how he reacts in certain situations. I don't know. Oh, big positive thing about werewolves, Leah is a werewolf. I don't know if that's good for her or not, but like they kept saying sons, and I guess Leah is a werewolf, so I guess women can be werewolves, but I don't know why Leah in particular. Like I feel like it wasn't really explained. She just is, like she's related to the previous pack, so she's a werewolf. There are actually more werewolves than Bella thought. So I am excited that it's not like only dudes can be werewolves, but I feel like since there's only one female werewolf, it's gonna be weird. And like they don't like that she's a werewolf because she's been thinking like she's messing with their minds. He was saying like she's thinking really like negative stuff or the destructive stuff, and so it's like messing with their pack link. And I'm like, I feel like you just deal with it. Like she's also probably really unhappy she's a werewolf. Like you are unhappy you're a werewolf, Jacob. Like I don't know why you're not just embracing the fact that she's probably really, really upset that she's a werewolf, because I don't know that you like being a werewolf. Like, I don't know why he's being so judgy of her when he also doesn't want to be a werewolf. Again, I really liked original Jacob, and I do not like that he's been written to be now like extra aggressive and like pursuing Bella so doggedly, and like he's a dog with a bone, like he won't let it go. Though you can teach a dog to let a bone go. It's one of the many things you're supposed to teach them. It's called let go or leave it. It's a common thing you teach puppies. But I'm just like, let it go. Like, leave it alone. Be her friend. She wants to be your friend. Like, I don't know why we keep writing that he can't just accept that. Like, maybe it'll be explained as like wolf hormones or whatever. I don't know. But I'm just like, could you not? I'm hoping in the movies it's not as bad and I won't get as annoyed. But it just like really made me mad at him for like the entirety of the rest of the stuff I've read. It just annoyed me a lot. So yeah. I also feel like I need to look up, so like dogs do imprint. So like the wolf imprinting technically makes sense, but I was under the impression, so like when dogs do it, it's like to imprint on like their mother figure or like someone they love, but it's a dog and like a person, or a dog and another dog, and that typically does not turn into like romance. It's normally like a caring imprint. So like the basis of their imprint fits with that, I guess, but like I don't like that it's the idea that you can imprint with someone at any age and then eventually you'll probably just be a couple because you will be her perfect mate, and why wouldn't that be the case? Like I'm just like, ugh. But I want to look something up because I feel like maybe it's supposed to be connected to something else, like a real life thing, sort of. I don't, it's a thought I had. So I'm gonna look some stuff up. I will probably finish this today, and then I'm gonna have to take a break before I get to Breaking Dawn, because I need to catch up on the movies. I do want to watch Personal Shopper and Underwater sometime this week, so I'll probably do that. They're both Kristen Stewart movies that I've seen Personal Shopper, haven't seen Underwater. But a podcast, Horror Careers, is doing Personal Shopper for their podcast next week, and I wanted to watch it anyway, so this gives me the excuse. So yes, that is my plan. I will finish this today though, and then get caught up on movies. So you'll probably get movie thoughts back to back. Different days, but back to back. But yeah, so I'm gonna go. I'm slightly more caffeinated. I'm still tired. I have work, so I need to get a move on. But sometime today I'll finish this and I'll get my final thoughts on Eclipse. But I'm gonna go. Also try and warm up because I'm freezing. Bye. Hello from my goofy work desk angle. So work is done. I was able to read the rest of Eclipse. And okay, where the action was coming, they were in the mountains. So this is a thing. There's more action in the second two in comparison to the first book. So I am seeing that the action sort of like slightly builds up a little bit more in each of them. Though the action really doesn't kick in these until like the very end. Like that's just how she writes. She waits till the very end of the book for like the big climax to happen, and it's pretty quick. And then climax is over and we go back to other things. So they were in the mountains, and then in the morning, the big event occurs. So there's the attack in the clearing, but then Victoria winds up tracking Edward's scent or tracing his scent or whatever. Because she's not really a tracker, but she is tracking. They don't call her a tracker specifically, but she basically follows his scent to him and Bella. Jacob has gone to go fight. So this all gets a lot. So I'm going to gloss over something to talk about all the action elements, and then we're going to get back into the technical love triangle that only officially now appears in this book. Victoria finds them, and Edward can like tell what's going on because he's also tuned into the wolves. So he's like seeing he's in everyone's head basically. So he knows exactly what's going on at all times. So he knows everything that's happening in the clearing. Then Victoria arrives, and then Seth had switched with Jacob. So Jacob was going to stay and he left. I'll get into that. But Seth is going to help because Victoria appears with someone named Riley, I think, who's a newborn. They all fight. Seth fights the newborn. Edward fights Victoria. Bella, I believe, she makes herself bleed to distract Victoria, which makes sense because we got that story about the third wife and it's the whole thing. The third wife bleeds and that thing, to distract the vampires is just the thing. It turns out that Seth was faking. She thought Seth was in danger, but Seth is just a good fighter and he was pretending to be injured. But they do kill both vampires very quickly. Then Edward thinks Bella's gonna be afraid of him because he killed Victoria, and I'm like, she hates Victoria. Victoria's trying to kill her. I don't know why you think that she'd be afraid of that. Like, the whole goal was to end Victoria. So I'm just like, whatever. He thinks it will make her hate him. The clearing goes well. They killed almost all the newborns, which is what they needed to do. But the wolves have to scatter. They have to get back to La Push. And Jacob has been injured. Leah got cornered by a newborn, or was like, kind of didn't notice a newborn. It leapt at her. Jacob pushed her out of the way, but he was injured on the entire right side of his body. But Carlo gave him some medical assistance as best he could, but they got him back to La Push. He'll get further medical assistance, but then the Volturi, I feel like I'm saying that wrong. Volturi? Whatever. The group of people that I compared to the Papal Council. Sorry, so much secret religion in this book. But they show up because of the newborn attack, and they're like, oh, you stopped them. Wow, we are actually very surprised. How did you do that? Because they can't tell them about the wolves. So like, no, we took care of it. It's fine. They tell Volturi everything. And then they're just gonna go. They do kill a newborn who like was considered, like she said she would stop fighting. And Carlisle was going to take her in, but Jane arrived and she was like, no, we can't let that occur. She's broken the rules. It's not her fault. She didn't know, but we have to get rid of her. So that character is gone. She barely existed, but she is destroyed. And then fight's basically over, they leave. So really it was Victoria, because anytime Bella has an idea in these, she's normally correct when it comes to like bad things happening. But Volturi did appear. So Edward was slightly correct. It was not them behind the things. It was just they were coming. So that all happened. So now getting back into the Edward and Jacob of it all. So, okay. I don't like the writing of this. And I'm very sorry. I'm sure it's supposed to be so compelling. And I would like to point out to you, I'm not really a fan of love triangles to begin with. And I have not liked the fact that Bella is so adamant she does not love Jacob in that way for almost 3 entire books. And now It's really just like one because he's not really in the first one. But like she's been adamant about this continuously in this book. And now he's like, well, I'm gonna go fight, even though I said I wasn't going to. And he's basically saying he even boils it down to like, I'll just let things happen that happen, and then you won't have to worry about me in your life. And that destroys Bella. She's like, I don't want you to die. And so they wind up kissing. And at first she's just kissing him because she's like, go ahead and kiss me and then you can go fight. And so they kiss, and at first she's very adamantly against the kiss, like she's yanking on his hair because she like doesn't want it to happen. And then they wind up more passionately kissing because she like lets herself go. And then like he leaves, and then she expects Edward to be super mad because she's also mad at herself. And then Edward's like, no, I'm not mad, but you're such a bad liar. You don't understand that sometimes people lie. And so Edward has basically said he tricked you into kissing him, which he gave her an ultimatum, and then she kissed him. And I'm just like, yeah, technically he did. And then later when she talks to Jacob about this, Jacob says Edward is just playing a longer game where he is acting the way you want him to act. He's not forcing us to stop being friends or interacting with each other because he wants you to pick him. And I'm just like, oh my God, could you just stop? Like, there's so many other things happening. And also, like, all the wolves are privy to everything Jacob does or thinks. Like, that's not his fault. But this gets mentioned in the epilogue. All of the wolves keep having like intense visuals of like him and Bella. And Leah, who is straight, and I kind of wish she wasn't, so there's at least a gay character in here. She's like, I had a dream where I kissed Bella. How do you think that makes me feel? And he's like, whatever, you're having gender confusion. I'm like, what the, you're making her think things she doesn't feel because she's stuck in your brain. Like, I don't, it's also so frustrating that there is not a single gay character in these books. Not a single gay character. Though I am sure, I'm 100% sure that Edward and Jacob fanfic probably exists. I'm so sure of it. Like, so very sure. But anyway, that appears in the epilogue. Also, it turns out that Leah is making all the guys annoyed, and the intrusive thought she was giving them is that she's still in love with Sam, so they just keep thinking, like, Sam is sexy or something. And I'm like, oh my good lord. Ugh. Anyway, going back to the plot at hand. I don't appreciate the way Jacob's character has been altered in his werewolfing. Like, when he was first introduced, I would not have pegged him as a guy who would be super manipulative in an attempt to get what he wants. And that's what's happening. I don't like it. Like, I don't. Ugh. And what makes it worse in this one is he and Bella have actually both seen the life they could have together. That if they were just, like, he was just human, vampires didn't exist, they probably would have gotten together and had a normal human life. Like, that's what would have happened. At least they think that's probably what would have happened. And I'm just like, okay, that's great. But like, she's told you, and like, she's even like, I love you now. Like, I do love you, but I love him more. And I'm like, oh my God, let the guy live. Like, just, and they're young. They're so young. He's what, like, she's 18, about to turn 19, which means Jacob is 16. It's like, they're still kids. Even though he's like physically matured into the body of like a 25-year-old. I'm just like, you're so young. Like, chaotic teen brain. So I'm just like, I don't like it. I don't. Like, I would be fine if they got together. I think they probably would have had a fine life together, but I don't know if they would anymore because of the werewolf stuff. Because like, there's no privacy in his brain. I mean, maybe he'd be better at controlling it later, but like, I don't think there's ever any privacy, which is wild to me. But yes, and then they are definitely getting married. Edward and Bella have agreed they're getting married. She's going to tell Charlie because he approached her and said, like, I keep feeling like I'm going to lose you. And so she's decided she needs to tell Charlie and Renee she's getting married, not turning into a vampire, but she's going to get married, and that will mean her life is changing. Sure. So a wedding is happening. Alice is planning it. There's a wedding dress. There's a ring. Edward invited Jacob to said wedding, which is part of the epilogue. And so Jacob is like running through the woods to forget about his life He doesn't want anyone around him, even though he's still injured. So yeah. Yeah. I'm so sorry that I don't really like love triangles. I never have. So like, I'm just not a fan of them, which I was actively fine with it, weirdly enough, in this, until it turned into like, Jacob will not leave it alone. And now Bella has been like, I could love you, but I don't love you enough. And I'm like, you gotta let the boy down easy. Just tell him no, like you have. But then you're like, no! And then you're like, but it could have happened. And I'm like, stop! Just stop telling him things. Like, let him go. Let him find a mate. I mean, we already know that he does, because I know part of the ending of the book, but bleh. So I'm just like annoyed at both of them. I'm also a little annoyed at, I mean, Edward is trying to be the bigger man, I think, so we're supposed to like side with Edward, but Jacob is bringing up a good point that he's being very, very calm about everything, even though he is very upset. And he's like, he's also like playing you, like he's making you not think he's as upset, which is very possible. He's an adult man. He could control his emotions as he wills. He's over 100 years old. But yeah, I'm just like, ugh. So yes, there is that. But yeah, there's going to be a wedding. And yeah, I liked parts of the plot of this book. Like, I liked the newborn thing that got set up, and I'm curious to see how that happens in the movie. And I liked Jacob and Bella in New Moon until Jacob suddenly got like a personality change because he became a werewolf, and I don't like it. I mean, I get he's a werewolf now, but still, I don't like it. Also, I have an aside about the epilogue. The epilogue in this book is told from Jacob's point of view. What I don't know if it's just like it's this printing and maybe it's been edited out of different printings, because I think these are the original paperback releases, I believe. These are Krista, so I think I'm correct. Yeah. This is August 2009, so I'm very sure this is, yes. So this must be this from the year I graduated. But yeah, little brain. So yes, I'm gonna guess it's the original. Don't know if it's been edited for other ones. I didn't look this up. But it uses the R word randomly out of the blue. Like, Jacob's just like, this R word sling. And I'm like, why did you use that word? What was the point of it? Why is it there? There's no smoking, there's no drinking, there's no cursing, but we're using the R word? Really? Really, in 2009? Were we still using that in 2009 colloquially? I don't think so. I mean, maybe we were. Whatever. It just annoyed me. Like, I just saw it and I was like, why? Why though? Why? Also, I figured out the weird thing about imprinting that was like poking at my brain. And this is a very big leap in judgment of things. So, grain of salt this, please, because it's not a direct comparison at all in any way. So, this came up. I'm taking a sip. I have coffee left from my lunch, which is nice. It's from Wendy's. But, so, again, grain of salt, not a direct comparison to like actual Church of Latter-day Saints people, standard LDS human beings, any of that. This is solely taken from the FLDS and a case that was brought about concerns with a certain sect that functions outside of the larger faith. So this is an extremist group. Extremist, has nothing to do with normal everyday Mormon people. So I kept thinking there's something about imprinting that was like snagging at me. Like, it just like kept making me think of something. And so I was like, well, and it's not all the imprinting. Like, if they're the same age, it's fine. Like, I'm like, okay, that's cool. It was reminding me of this thing that they sort of presented in Under the Banner of Heaven. Again, that is a fictional work. So again, this is not fully compared. But there are apparently, at least in that extremist FLDS sect, there were arranged marriages where younger girls would be designated for older men so that they could like hit their number of wives. There's like a whole thing. I read so many articles, went to so many websites. Again, this is extremist, not normal, not standard, all that jazz. But that's what it reminds me of when it's the younger person, and that's what's bothering me. Because I'm like, it's basically an arranged marriage at that point. I understand that the man in this situation, because they're all men, they have not said Leah will even like do this. I would assume she would imprint with someone, but I don't know, because there have never apparently been female werewolves before. So the imprinting with a younger person just makes me think of that, and it bothers me so much. Because like that being that you're imprinting on is going to have you in her life from that point in her life. That was a lot of the word life. And then the idea is she could make the choice not to be with you, but why wouldn't she make the choice to be with you when you are going to be perfect for each other? And I'm just like, I don't like it. I don't like it, sorry. My computer is doing a thing and I need the monitors to stay up so I have better lighting. But yeah. So I think that's what bothers me. I'm really sorry. I know that it only occurs with like a younger person twice in this series, and we've already heard of one of those. I just don't like it. I'm sorry. It's like really, really a sticking point I do not like. Like, cause you don't need it. And like, I had a discussion about this with Krista. We did talk about it, and she pointed out why it is introduced and why it occurs in a specific book with specific characters. You already know who I'm talking about if you've read these before. But I'm just like, I still don't like it. Like, I don't understand why the woman these male werewolves are imprinting on can't just be older. Like, I don't know why it can occur at any point in that human being's life. Like, could it at least occur when she's of age? Or at least in her teen years? I just don't like it when it's a single digit age. It feels very icky to me. Even though they're not doing anything. I understand this. I do. I really do. I understand that nothing bad is happening. But it feels like a very weird, fated thing. I don't like it. Sorry. Just, I really don't like it as a writing thing. I don't like it as a writing choice. Because it didn't need to have to exist. It could have been something else. Like, Bella and Edward are conceivably soulmates. So can't they just, can it just be that like soulmates exist, and when you're both prepared to be in a relationship, like boom, zap, you figure it out and you know you're meant for each other? No, I don't write this book. I don't have these things. Anyway, that was my long rant about the end of Eclipse, and I still have to watch this movie. I have to watch New Moon and Eclipse. I'm sorry, I'm picking certain things in these books that I really don't like and just like fixating on them. I'm so sorry. I am having a very fun time reading everything, and I feel like a boss because I'm getting through these so quickly because I can. They're a YA book. I read YA very quickly. But so I am enjoying like knowing these things, having the knowledge going into the world that already knows all about this series. So that's fun. I'm having a fun time. I'm just sorry that I'm fixating on certain things in these books that I don't like. And again, I did say that when I read the first one, when I was closer to the age you would expect to be reading these books, like the target audience, I did not plan to read them. Like read more past the first one. So I do like that they picked up. I think I would have liked that the action picked up a bit in the other books. I don't know if teen me could have survived all the romance at that time. I think I would have been like, oh, why? But yes, that's just me. I'm gonna take a bit of a break. Ooh, there's a fire truck. We live by a fire station. I'm gonna go. There's gonna be a bit of a gap. Not for you. You'll get clips as Jeez Louise! We do literally live right down the street from a fire station. But yeah, I'm gonna go. They're just gonna keep coming. But I will go. The next update you'll get will be on movies, because we are gonna watch Full Moon. Yeah, New Moon, not Full Moon, good lord. New Moon and Eclipse, and I think we're building the couch tonight. Do not know that we'll watch the movies while we're building the couch, because the couch is gonna take some like focus. But yes, but I'm gonna go because there's so many sirens, and I should go do after work things. So I will talk to you later when I have movie thoughts. As promised, couch footage. Mostly the Chloe is really helpful.
Very, very, very helpful, and not at all impeding progress on the couch that she's putting together.
Yes, she is doing this whole project alone.
Look at what she's already unpacked.
Yes, she's already taken out this. There's so much stuff just in weird places. But yeah, we've unpacked one box. Krista is trying to open box 2 of 3. Yeah.
So we think that the third box they sent us is not correct. And we think that they sent us the larger model than what we ordered.
Yes.
That was $300 more than what we paid for, which may or may not fit in this living room. Okay, everyone.
Oh, and Bernie's helping.
Is so incredibly helpful. And no one at all is in danger of getting cut by these scissors, including myself.
Oh,
like,
gosh.
this is really safe, it's not stressful, and everyone is really helpful in making this an efficient and enjoyable process.
Yes.
So if you ever have to buy furniture from a store that you have to put together because your doorway is too small.
This is
Like
really
ours.
why. Yeah.
I highly recommend you get at least a couple of dogs and a couple of cats to round out the experience.
Hi, Vane.
Because, you know, they help.
They help so much.
They help so much.
But yeah, so we're gonna get back to work. We're also watching Our Generation Q. And we each have a beverage. I'm drinking a cider donut cider. Krista has some Guinness. And I'm gonna start assisting getting these pieces out of this box. So back to couch building, less couch contenting. Be back. Hi, Chloe. You did it. You built a couch. They sent us the wrong couch.
Yep. Did I tell you or did I tell you?
Yes. So Krista, when the second box showed up, or the third box,
Third.
because she'd been contacting the company over and over again because she was like, I don't think you sent us the right pieces. They were like, no, we sent you the right pieces. You should get 2 boxes, which make up this guy and that. And then they were like, and a third one will come with your second chaise with storage. And this is what showed up, which is much bigger than just a chaise.
And it's the couch that's $300 to $400 more.
Yeah,
Than what we paid.
so we wound up with a more expensive couch.
And that's storage.
Yeah. Oh, Chloe's like, stay away from my couch.
She is.
Yeah,
She worked very hard on it.
the cats keep trying to scratch it, and she's really upset about it. But we're putting cushions on.
But
No. But yeah, so we're putting cushions on, and then we'll show you. Downside is we need to buy a Velcro because we did not realize that there's no way that they like stay on the couch. And as you've seen, we have dogs, and they will pull the cushions off. So we're just gonna buy some Velcro. Chloe's whining because she sees a kitten. But I'm gonna go. I'll show you the final product when we are done. Behold the couch. That's Bernie.
If you pee on it, you die.
He has a diaper on. He can't do anything. But yes, so the couch is done. Bernie is sniffing everything. He sometimes pees on furniture, and thus the diaper. And the cats are playing with plastic in the bathroom, so I have to clean up plastic. Oh yeah, bathroom, gosh. The kitchen, so we have to clean that up. But yeah, the couch is done.
You did it, Chloe.
Cup holders. She did it.
You to know that she's the only Rottweiler ever to put together her own couch.
Yes, she's very proud of herself.
Been working on it all night.
Bernie
30
supervised.
minutes, my butt.
Yeah, no, it took forever. All right, we're gonna go because the cats are doing weird stuff. So I gotta clean that up, and we gotta adjust the couch. But yeah, but we did it. It's done. Go, Chloe. Right, bye. Hello.
Hello.
We have new hair. Krista got hers done, and mine. It kinda, sorta looks purpley red in this light. Okay, I'm not gonna get into this, but you saw my hair before this. Because it's been in other clips. And I had planned to get all the purple re-purpled. And then we got to the hairdresser and she was like, oh, I didn't realize that was fashion color. Which means like non-natural hair color. I know there's a difference, like they make the dye differently. So she was like, I had prepped like purples that are more like similar to natural color hair dye, and so I picked the most purpley of them, but we didn't bleach my hair because that would take forever, admittedly, and because I am naturally dark brown, black. Depending, and the swatches that you look at, which I don't know why she didn't even like mention this. Oh, a cat is gonna attack my camera.
I thought you shut her up in the bathroom.
No, I hadn't been in there yet. Goose is here.
Hi.
So the swatches they show you
Come here.
for hair dye, unless they have a specific dark hair book, are normally based on what happens if you apply that hair dye to naturally blonde hair, like Krista's hair.
Hi.
So my hair, hi Goose, took what looked like, did you even see it?
Yeah.
It was like a violet-y color. Like, it looked purpley. On my hair, it's red. Like, I think it looks nice. I've shown it to people, but this is not purple. Like, I am now just a redhead, which is fine. You'll see it more when it's down. And I was jokingly saying it looks more like Bella's hair color than my natural hair color did, so the universe just wanted me to look like Bella Swan. But yes, but we're here, not to talk about hair, but because we finally watched New Moon, and I like the movie. I think the movie is good.
Team Jacob!
So, I will say, because Krista has already seen the movies, but you saw them like when they came out. You didn't really rewatch them.
No.
They play up the love triangle in the movies like a millionfold. Like, Bella almost kisses Jacob. They're like really close together. Like,
she rubs his chest.
There's a lot of really close talking and touching.
And that's not in the book.
You know, you're kind of beautiful. But no, I'm not.
So they really play it up in the movies. So if you didn't read the books and you only watched the movies, you would definitely very solidly be able to pick a team, I think. And I know people who read the books did too, but I have a really hard time, like, picking a team in the book version because Bella is so fixated.
Well, she is bisexual, so she also has a hard time picking a team. So, you know, she's working on it.
Oh goodness. But yeah, so what else? Oh, they condense a lot of stuff. I mean, it's a movie, so they always condense it for books. But like, Bella, like, just a lot of stuff happens very quickly in the movie. So like, I don't know. I think it's a fine adaptation. I think the book is really long. Like, all the books are so long. But yeah, so I mean, I had fun watching it. They just like amp up the love triangle a lot. And I feel like, okay, the filter is different, right? Something is different for this movie. Like, it's brighter, which is helpful. So like when we started out, I was like, oh, everything's less blue. Because I feel like everything was really blue tinted in the first one. But no, I liked it. The Volterra definitely looks like Vatican City. Like, so much red, fancy architecture. That San Marcos thing was definitely like a saint's procession that they would do in the Vatican as a raised Catholic. Just throwing that out there. So the Volterra are Catholics? I don't. Just throwing that out there. But yeah, but I thought it was good. We're gonna start Eclipse because it's kind of late. So we'll probably finish it tomorrow. We might finish it tonight. And I'll probably just update you tomorrow.
And what else is special about today?
Oh, yes. Today is the 7-year anniversary of when we met. Which we both forgot.
Hey.
It was not intentional. You were working and it's a leap year.
I'm the one that pointed it out.
Yes.
How did I forget?
You saw it on Facebook.
And I said, look.
Yes. But yes, so it's the 7-year anniversary of when we met. But it's always really goofy because we met at ClexaCon, which only occurred in March one time. And all the other times were April.
Mm-hmm.
So we met at the first one when it was in March. And then every other time we went to ClexaCon, we were like, well, the anniversary of when we met is off because you changed the weekend of the convention. But yeah, so 7 years. And we have been married for almost 5 of those years. It'll be 5 in December. I think Goose is in the curtain. Sorry, I got distracted. She has a bell on. But yeah, so we're gonna go. I have puppies I have to bring up so we can go to bed. And I have to get a Goose out of this curtain. But yes, so I enjoyed the movie. I think the movies are fun. They condense a lot of things. So if you actively, like, absolutely loved everything in the books, I could see why you might be a little disappointed because they, like, cut stuff out and move stuff around. But I had a fun time watching it. I'm looking forward to the second one because
Jacob finally cut his hair in this one. That was very nice.
Yes, he did cut his hair. I'm looking forward to Eclipse because I want to see all the fight scenes. Like, I'm just like, I want to see the training him to fight newborns and phasing. Because
Jacob is a beautiful werewolf.
He's a very pretty werewolf.
Who easily controls his werewolf feelings.
Yes.
And, like, just immediately goes sad.
Yeah.
Puppy dog eyes.
He has a very sad werewolf face. Just,
Well, you know, if the love of your life looked at you and said, I love you, don't make me choose. Because it will be him.
Yes.
It will always be him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's harsh.
It is really harsh. But yeah, we're gonna go because we gotta get ready for bed and start Eclipse. But those are the thoughts on New Moon. I told you Krista would be in this one more. But yeah, so we're gonna go. And we'll update you after we watch Eclipse / tomorrow morning for us. So, bye for now. Hello! Goose keeps trying to grab the strap on my camera, so I'm hiding it a little. But we watched Eclipse! All of Eclipse last night before we went to bed.
Yes.
But I didn't film anything today, because it was, like, I don't want to call it a lazy Sunday, because we ran a bunch of errands. And then it was a lazy Sunday. So, all of our errands were dog related, weren't they?
We got our toys.
Oh, and goose related.
So for children related.
Yeah. So we went to Petco, Pet Supply, Target, and then Petco again because we were trying to find specific things for Parker, our boy dog who is like 2 years old. And we thought we found it at Petco, but Pet Supply had better stuff. So we bought stuff there and then returned everything at Petco. And then we needed to get Goose a replacement for her poor squirrel because he didn't have a face or feet. And I think 90% of his tail was missing, I think.
You've joined us for kitty time.
Yes. But we thought we'd give you our Eclipse thoughts because Eclipse, so far, and I'm guessing for forever, is my favorite Twilight film. And also Krista's favorite Twilight film. She's seen all of them, so I don't know. Am I doomed once we get to Breaking Dawn?
I mean, it depends. You like action. There's a lot of action in Breaking Dawn Part 2.
Okay. So, do we think that I'll think Breaking Dawn Part 1 is boring and then I'll like Breaking Dawn Part 2?
Probably.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. I will start reading Breaking Dawn tomorrow. Probably not tonight. We are relaxing with Goose right now. Hi, Goose. And then it'll just be bedtime, really. So I don't think I'm gonna do any reading. But I am caught up. So Eclipse is my favorite, even though it is weird that they couldn't get the actress to play Victoria. So I looked it up, and because I recognize the new Victoria, and it's Bryce Dallas Howard, who I love. I love things Bryce Dallas Howard is in. But I don't know why they couldn't get the original Victoria. She's like, I looked on IMDb and there's not really like trivia that I could spot, but she showed up in like a couple movies and a TV show. So I don't know if like she just couldn't be in it. I have no idea. But I liked it. I liked all the action, which I thought I would because I liked the action in the book. And they really, really play up the love triangle in this one. Like, Bella is in love with Jacob. Like,
and admits it.
So in love with him, even though she's not really in love with him.
But she loves Edward more.
Yeah. And we get to see.
It's a tough movie for Jacob.
It is. He looks so sad all the time, even as a wolf.
Hurt tons, both emotionally and physically. Yeah. Poor Jacob.
Yeah. I feel worse for Jacob in the movie than I did in the book. But I feel like the book writes him as like a huge jerk for a lot of it. In the movie. Yeah. They make him a very nice guy. The books write him as a more like assertive, jerky.
Apparently he didn't get a release.
Yeah. Bye Goose. She just like walked off.
Cool.
But I just, in the book, I dislike Jacob a lot because he is very consistently like trying to get Bella. And then Edward is like, oh, he's playing a game with you. And then what's interesting is they kept the section where Jacob is like, well, Edward is good at playing the game. And Bella's like, what are you talking about? Like, he's not playing any games. He just likes me. But that loses some of the meaning because they cut out the part where Edward tells Bella, like, Jacob is playing you. Like, he's lying to you. He's trying to get you to let him kiss you because he's gonna go off to battle where he will probably die, is basically what he tells Bella in the book. But I am intrigued to see what happens in Breaking Dawn because I know the Volturi come back. That's like the only thing, not the only thing. I do know there is a baby. I do know that Jacob imprints on said baby, and I'm really not excited to read about that. I don't want that in my brain. They've set it up already because Seth has, I think, not Seth. It's
Sam.
Is it? No, it can't be Sam. Sam's imprinted on Emily.
Right.
In the book, it's like, it's Seth or Queel, I think, is imprinted on a 2-year-old.
Oh.
And it's a setup for the...
I thought you were talking about Sam and Emily.
Yeah, no, they are imprinted. But the book sets up that someone is imprinted on like a toddler. So that you're not as weirded out when Jacob is imprinted on a child that secretly I'm not supposed to know exists, but I do know exists. Also, Krista secretly told me someone dies.
No. That never happened.
No.
So much
didn't
lying.
happen.
I said, don't worry, no one dies.
So I am going into Breaking Dawn with some spoilers that I already knew. Like, I know Bella has a baby. I know Bella and Edward have a moment that really inspired that 50 Shades of Grey series, which I am never reading. Unless someone pays me money, I'm not reading the 50 Shades of Grey series. If one of you wants to pay me money, I'll read it. But only if you pay me. And I'm pretty sure I also said I would only read Crimson Sun and the Edward retelling of Twilight if someone paid me.
Let me see. I'm pretty sure you told me today you wanted me to choose all the books that you read. So
No!
Very interesting, and I will keep that in mind.
I told Krista she could pick part of my April, like, TBR.
You said all. All
I said
of the
all?
books.
No.
All of the books that you were going to read. So,
no.
yay. I have some ideas.
We don't own any of the 50 Shades books, so if she suggests them, I have to request them from the library, which is going to be very, very awkward for her because she picks up my books. But I really liked Eclipse. I thought it was a good movie. I liked the werewolves. I think the CGI for the werewolves is pretty good.
Yeah. Jacob is a beautiful wolf.
He really is. And I
With
like
sad, soulful eyes.
Yeah. And I like the wolves in the movie, and I like all the action in Eclipse.
And he's a lot. They always say, like, oh, I'm dangerous for you. I can't control my emotions as a werewolf. But he seems very in control of his emotions as a werewolf.
Does.
He cuddles her.
Yeah.
He stands near her. He emotes. Like,
Yeah. But what's interesting is the movie leaves off the fact that Jacob has, like, run off into the woods. Because in the book, he runs into the woods to mourn Bella. I don't know. But he, like, runs off as a wolf while he's healing. And that's how that book ends. So we'll see. I start Breaking Dawn tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. I may complain. I did find a Spotify playlist with every single song that's ever appeared in a Twilight movie, which is very fun. So I have that for background noise. But yeah, so we're gonna go because we're gonna watch stuff and possibly hang out with cats if Goose comes back. But yeah, so be prepared for all the Breaking Dawn things. And I guess maybe be prepared in April for me to read horrible literature. Oh no.
as your loving, supportive wife, would I do that to you?
I think you would make me read the 50 Shades of Grey's book. She's seen all the movies.
I had to. I was forced to. By a friend that we're hanging out with
Oh no.
soon.
She's gonna make me read the books. I'm not watching those movies, even though Dakota Johnson does seem to be a delight.
Oh my gosh, the Jamie, whatever his name is, hated making those movies.
I'm sure he did. They don't seem great.
He really regretted that he signed a multi-picture deal before he looked at the source material.
He didn't look at the what? If you sign a contract, at least read a script.
It was his first big break. He was like, yes, I made it out of my apartment. I share with 4 other dudes.
Oh no. Okay, but we're gonna go. We're probably gonna watch more of the L Word Generation Q, which is what we watched in all the couch building videos. And then bring the dogs up and go to bed. but we have to spend time with the cats because Goose does not like dogs. Sadly. But we're gonna go. I will talk to you tomorrow before work because I will attempt to start Breaking Dawn before work. I'm gonna do my best.
And if you have a book that you think would be really entertaining for this one to read, leave it in the comments below.
Yes.
And let me know why you think it would be entertaining, and I will look at all the comments and incorporate them into my decision making.
For April, where I read everything my wife chooses for me. I am so concerned. I'm gonna show her the Audible downloads list because I have some stuff on Audible I really want to listen to that exists. And
Perhaps you should be extra, extra nice to me if you want me to choose something from your Audible list.
Okay. Alright, but I will be back with you with Breaking Dawn content later. So we'll talk to you later. Bye! Hello. Welcome to Breaking Dawn Day. I have read roughly 2 chapters and I decided to do an Edward inspired photo. So I am wearing a crap load of body glitter from ColourPop. I doubt the stuff they came out with for the Twilight collection is as extreme, but yeah, I put this all over. So I could say that this is the skin of a killer, Bella. I did not say that in anything, but I took a lot of very awkward photos in my front yard during my lunch break. So yeah, I'm gonna get this stuff off and out of my hair. I put it up because one, I did not want this everywhere when I was going for like dude hair a little, but I really need to get this off. So I'm gonna wipe all of this glittery junk off and hope that it leaves my skin and I do not continue to look like I have the skin of a killer. So I'm gonna do that and then I'll have more updates for you when I read some more. I did not know this book was broken into parts, so I know this is distracting. It's distracting to me. It's all over my hands. It's everywhere. But I'm in Bella's part, of course, because I'm not very far in. So I know the second part is Jacob's because I was like, what? There are parts? And then I like flipped, but I didn't want to flip too far. So I'm guessing Edward also gets a part, but I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna go get this stuff off. And then I will return to work because my lunch break I'm sure will be over by then because I have to get this crud off of me. But yes, so I'm gonna go. And hopefully I'll have more updates for you reading wise later tonight. Because I do want to read more. I know tomorrow I'm going to read a lot because Krista has court. So I normally read a bunch while she's at court just because I'm just hanging out with the dogs and they don't care. But yeah, I gotta get this stuff off because it's even in my nose and it's really annoying. Okay, bye. Good morning from me and the hair you haven't really seen. And I don't know in this lighting if you'll be able to tell. I think you can tell it's different, just not what color it is. We've already talked about this. This is supposed to be purple, and I would argue it is not. I think it has purple tint, maybe, lightly, but like even in this you can tell it's reading red up here, which is why I'm wearing a Scarlet Witch shirt, because my sister saw my hair and said it reminded her of Wanda from WandaVision. So depending on the lighting, it's lighter or darker, but it's definitely not purple. I will grant it maybe a purple hued red, but again, that's what happens when you put dye on not bleached hair. And I'm not complaining. I think it looks nice. It's not what I went in for. But I do think it looks nice. So I'm fine with that. I also am very sure I can touch this up with box dye if I want, instead of going to a salon. I've never used box dye. So if you've made it into this video to this point and you've used box dye on your hair, is it hard? Like if my roots start coming in and I actually do care, I don't really, which probably sounds awful to a lot of people, but like when I got it done, I didn't mention this, I am gonna get into book talk kind of things. Book T-A-L-K, not T-O-K. I don't have TikTok. But when I went in, she was like, oh yeah, we'll do your whole head. We'll cover all your grays. I don't care that my grays are visible. Like I don't care. Like no one in my family ever really dyed their hair. Like my sister once put a purple streak in the back of her hair, and then I just wanted to make my hair be a wild color, which is why I went and got it done. But like it was streaks and we didn't cover my gray. Like she even was like, oh yeah, I just won't cover all the gray. And I was like, cool, like I don't care. So like I don't care if my gray is visible. Like I've had gray hair since I was like 18. It started coming in college and I just never cared. Like my gray hair comes in. It is a different texture than my like not gray hair. it's coarser and a little like, the hairdresser was saying it's wiry, which makes sense. I'm very sure that my gray hair is coming in the texture of my dad's gray hair, while my natural hair is more the texture of my mom's hair. These are just thoughts I have sometimes. But like, I don't care that this covers my gray. Like, my gray could be super visible and I wouldn't care. It's more, I just don't like going to the hairdressers around here. It's not their fault. Like, I just haven't found one that's like a good fit for me. I had a really good one in Ohio who's super nice, and I loved going to her, but like, I just haven't really found someone that I like super want to go to, or like they can do my hair the way I want. Like, I used to have an undercut and no one could do it. Like, I was like, hey, could you just like fix it up on the sides? Like, because I used to have just like hair here, and I'd be like, yeah, I just need a one blade, no fade all the way around, and they would be like, what? And like, that's what my hairdresser in Ohio told me to tell people. She was like, yeah, if they've done barber work, they can do it. We even found someone where we used to live who totally knew how to do my hair, because she was like, oh yeah, I have a barber certificate, like no way, like super easy peasy, you could drop in whenever, I can trim it up. But I got rid of the undercut for the wedding, and then I did it again, and I managed to get it done once correctly, and then no one could upkeep it, and I just gave up. So I was just like, whatever, I'll just grow it back out. So it's been long because I don't trust anyone here to do my hair correctly. And so I don't mind it being long. Like, I just put it up if it's in my way. And it's helpful for like cosplay / bounds and stuff sometimes, but like, I just don't trust anyone. And the only reason I'm even thinking about touching it up at some point is we're going to a wedding in October. And so I'm like, oh, I should probably like touch it up so it looks nice for photos. But if I can do it myself, I'll just do it myself, because this doesn't require bleach. I just have to put different color on top of it. So if you've done box dye, if you have suggestions, please tell me. Sorry, that was a rant. That has nothing to do with Twilight. I'm sorry. But if you've done box dye, please tell me. Or if you live in upstate New York or know people in upstate New York, could you suggest a hair salon for me? Please. Please. Anyway, back to book. So I have read a little. Not a lot. I need to read a bunch today. Krista has court, so my plan, hopefully, is to read a hunk of this while the dogs are out. But I am roughly 100 pages in. So I just got to chapter 6. And so far, so the wedding was so short. Like, I thought the wedding would get more time. So I'm guessing the wedding gets more time in the movie, because like, it's a grand event and like, it happens in a chapter. There's like the wedding, then the reception, and then honeymoon. Like, it's all just one chapter each. And I guess I just thought it would be longer. But I mean, Bella doesn't want to get married really. She's only doing it for Edward, so I guess maybe that's why. But like, I was just surprised it was so short. We have gotten to the island, and off page, Bella and Edward have consummated the relationship. And Edward is freaking out and is like, I'm never touching you again, because she's bruised. She has bruises. Okay, so she does, for the first time, mention, ooh, I think we got a delivery. Dog food is coming, I guess. For the dogs, there's barking. Anyway, so like, Bella finally mentioned that she bruises, and normally the bruise shows up within like a day, or by the time she gets it, she forgets why she got it. Now, that doesn't entirely make sense to me. This is coming from my own lived, I bruise like a Georgia peach and I'm very pale, life. But based on how pale Bella is, and I'm sure, and like, Bella is also very, very thin. I am 1000% sure she has gotten bruises more instantaneously throughout the course of this book, and we're just glossing over that fact. She would have bruised at her birthday party from when she needed stitches because she got pushed really hard, and so there would have been some kind of impact bruise either around that, somewhere on there. Edward has grabbed her pretty forcefully, and I know he like limits his like nature, but I still think it would have left some level of bruise. I'm just going to use this as an example. So sometimes our dogs are playing with me, like I'm playing a game with them, and they'll like get really excited and like push on me, like not super hard, but like they'll jump up and I'll have like puppy paws on my legs, or I will get like a paw to the arm, or like a nail will catch me and it's not their fault. they need their nails trimmed. Krista did a really good job trimming them recently, but sometimes their nails are a little too long. And I get a bruise within less than 24 hours from just that slight level of impact. I have bruises on my legs from putting together the couch that appeared the next day. And I was just putting together a couch. I have bopped into our fireplace and gotten a bruise. Like, I get bruises within 24 hours of impact from the most minimal impacts ever. There is no way Bella has gone through life with bruises that take so long to develop. Now, I have gotten ones that I don't remember what they're from, but like she's saying like they take so long to develop, she doesn't even notice them, and these have already appeared. They will get worse, of course. Like she does say like these are going to get darker, so it'll be worse tomorrow. So he does not want to touch her again until she's a vampire. And I'm just like, there is no way she hasn't been bruised in some capacity by you on accident before. Like, stop being such a baby about it. Like, I'm sure she looks very bruised. Like, I'm not disregarding that she probably looks awful, but they're on a private island, so no one can see them. Like, no one will know. Only Edward and Bella know. And I assume when she becomes a vampire, they would heal. Like, I'm sure she looks awful, but like, sometimes we all look a little awful. Like, there are some times where we do like a lot of stuff around the house where I'm like moving furniture or doing stuff with the dogs or something like that, and my legs get super bruised out of the blue. Like, I will have bruises on my thighs, I'll have bruises on like my calves, like I will just have bruises from slight impacts of things. I just don't understand why this is the like, there's a hair on me. This is like the big, I can't touch you ever again. I'm like, just mellow out then. Like, be a slightly more restrained, gentle, like, hold back. I don't know, take a 30 million mile run and then do the wham bam thank you ma'am. I'm only not calling it what it is because I know that I don't know that they actually have sex on the page, because I believe these are considered clean romance, because like I don't know, I mean they could, I think they do in the movie, but also it's a movie, they've been more like physically touchy. But they've made out in this before. And Krista was like, well, they've only kissed. And I was like, yeah, but it's been like some aggressive kissing. Like, I feel like she'd be a little bruised from some of that kissing. Just if any passion at all causes him to bruise her. I don't know. Also, I really don't think she's kidding about making me read the 50 Shades books. And I am concerned. I don't know that I could do it. I'd have to read something else first. I have a couple library books I need to read. And then, yeah, no. My wife picks my TBR for April is definitely happening. So I'm gonna have to cram in a bunch of books in March. I have some books planned for after this, but still lots of books because oh boy, 50 Shades. Anyway, but that's where I am so far. I did find out that Edward doesn't get his own part in this book, so it's just Bella and Jacob, which I guess is fine. I just assumed Edward would get one. So hopefully I have more updates for you. Oh, very quickly, I know I've already talked for a really long time, but on the Kristen Stewart front, I watched Underwater last week, which is super actiony. So if you like an action movie, she was good in it. It also threw me off because she does a voiceover like she does when she's Bella, and so it like opened and she's like talking and I was like, Bella? Like my brain was like, what? So it was good. There's a little bit of like a vague love triangle in that. And there are Cthulhu-like monsters. So I had fun. It's just super actiony, like action from the moment it starts. Just all the things are happening. And then I watched Personal Shopper, which I've seen before, where she is a personal shopper for like a celebrity, but she's also a medium. I think they call her a psychic in the description, but she calls herself a medium. And her brother has died and she's waiting in Paris for a sign because he died in Paris. So this whole thing, there are some ghosty things. So it was fun. I had seen it, but it had been a long time and I was rewatching it because I wanted to. But also Horror Queers are doing a podcast about it this week, which felt very kismet. So that will be tomorrow. So I'll get to listen to that tomorrow with the movie fresh in my brain. And I still want to watch the Charlie's Angels movie. Because it's a fun movie. The one that she's in. There's so many Charlie's Angels movies, but I want to watch hers because I think that one's really fun. So that's a plan. I don't know when I'm watching that one, but I want to. And then I need to read Breaking Dawn. That's the big key point. Also, for Breaking Dawn, we Googled it. So I'm going to read to the point where Bella, these are things I already know that happen, becomes a vampire. I already knew she became a vampire, so that's not a spoiler. So you read to the point where she becomes a vampire, and then that's like the end of movie 1. So I'm gonna read to that point, and then we'll watch movie 1, and then I'll finish the book, and then we'll watch part 2. I'm sure that's not an exact science because movie adaptations are tricky, but the internet suggested that as like the best point to stop. And then that way I get a movie in the middle, which will be nice. So that's the plan. But I'm gonna go because work's about to start. So I just want to give you some fun little updates. Also, I'm gonna put my hair back up because I need to work and I like having it off my face while I'm working. So I'll be back with breaking down updates when I have them. Bye. Hello! Okay, we are in the same location. Work has been over for a few minutes. I know the lighting is really weird in this room. The only light is like an overhead thing, and if I stand in it, I'm washed out, and if I move away from it, I'm in shadow. But, okay. Whew, sorry. Oh, you're gonna get blue light now because my computer is restarting. I waited a sec. I debated about using my work monitors because they were still on because I hadn't restarted yet as light, and I didn't because I know it looks really blue, but I don't know what to tell you. Like, it gives me some level of light, and I really can't open my window. Like I have a curtain on it, but it's blocked, so I can't use natural light in here really without a lot of effort. But anyway, it is a little bit after work. And yeah, the is not related to anything book related. I had to take all the dogs out by myself because Krista has court tonight, and I tried to time it really well. So I was like, okay, I will go as soon as I can because I was trying to avoid a lot of after work traffic. So I was trying to go like right as I got out of work to try and keep from like interacting with anyone. But our neighbors, who are very nice, they have a dog. They didn't always have a dog. The dog is kind of new. They just got him like middle of last year, I think. And he's like a little schnauzer, and okay, so he barks a lot. Like, I can't say, like, our dogs also bark periodically, but like he barks a lot. And I understand, like, he's also a young dog, so he's gonna bark, and I'm not holding that against him. The problem is because we're literally neighbors, the only fencing that divides us is their fence, because we're not allowed to put a fence over their fence. Like, there's a whole bunch of like rules and regulations for the city, and because of city regulations, there's a gap in between part of the fencing in our backyard. And I took Kira out because she doesn't really care about the dog. She whines at him a lot because she wants to play with the puppy, but she doesn't really care beyond that. Like, she'll still go to the bathroom. So if I send her out first, she can tell me if he's in their yard or not. And the only reason I thought he might be out is because our neighbor was doing yard work. He's retired, so like he had already started before I did outs, like I had seen him, and I was like, oh, okay, so Smokey, their dog, definitely isn't out because he didn't bark at Kira. Like, he still barks at Kira, even though Kira doesn't really react to him. She just whines because she wants to play. So I was like, okay, like, we should be fine. So I took Chloe out, and I had to do Chloe in the backyard because our neighbor's doing yard work in the front yard, and if she sees him, she's gonna jump on the fence, she's gonna run around. Well, as soon as Chloe hit the backyard, there was a motorcycle, and she doesn't like loud things going by her yard, and so she was already like, she wasn't barking, but she was running a lot. And then she was really close to the side fence, but we have this like mesh thing. We're allowed to put it up because you can technically see through it, like if there's light, but it's like a black mesh curtainy thing, so she can't see through it, and I can't see through the one we have set up in a certain spot in the yard because it's just to block where their dog goes. And he started barking because he heard her, and so she started barking at him. She wound up pulling the netting down, which has happened before. They are both fine. I got Chloe away from the fence immediately. Like, I grabbed her collar and pulled her back and was just holding her in place. But the problem is they leave him in the yard and there's no one ever with him. So like, it's me on one side, and then once that mesh netting is down, his whole nose, like his whole snout, is just in the backyard. So like, I don't want him to get injured by like shoving his head too far through. I don't want like Chloe barking to accidentally like hit him in the nose. Like, I don't want anything to happen to their dog, even though he's shoving his head through the fence. So I had to get Chloe inside, and I got her inside, and then I had to fix the netting. So I fixed all of the netting and got it all reattached. And then I took her out on a leash to the front yard. And that was fine. It's just like, she takes forever on a leash because she doesn't like going to the bathroom on a leash. And then I had to take Bruni and he will not go poop on a leash. Like, he just like won't do it. So he didn't, which is fine. I'll take him out again later when I know people are not out. Because he also barks at their dog. He's afraid of other dogs sometimes, and he like gets a little freaked out. There's a dog over there. It's a whole thing. So normally we just do front yard because our front yards are not close to each other because there's a driveway. But the leash was just to make sure he didn't like jump up on the fence or get hurt trying to like bark or run around too much. And then I took Parker out and he was totally fine. He was also on a leash. So it was fine because their dog was still out the whole time. But like, it takes forever. And then it's annoying because like the dogs don't know why they're on a leash. So Kira thought everyone was going on walks, which they weren't. And like, I'm taking them one at a time. But I was like, Kira, you already went. And like, Kira's just like wailing because she thinks she's missing out on something. And I was like, oh, bleh. So it was like a really great way to roll into after work time. Everyone is fine. I'm fine. Everyone is fine. Even double checked that no one got like, only Chloe would have managed to get like scraped or anything because when she pulled down the mesh, there were some staples in it, but I double checked all of her feet, all of her body. She's totally fine. And I also checked, I checked their dog. I don't touch him. But like when I was putting it back up, he was barking at me because I was next to his fence. And so I was like putting it up and I was talking to him and I was like looking at him and he was totally fine, which I knew he would be because he was never that close to Chloe. Like even when his face was through the fence, like his whole like muzzle up to his eyeballs, we were far enough away that I knew it wasn't going to be a problem. I just get very paranoid that he's going to hurt himself. And I feel like I should not be the one worrying about this. They also have a bunch of like siding and like stuff in that part of the yard. So like, I don't know if he stepped on anything. Like there were definitely like home renovation supplies where he was standing and I'm just like, is he okay? Okay, great. Anyway, moving away from I dislike when I don't know their dog is out. I wish we had a sign. Like, you know how Lucy has that sign that says the psychiatrist is in or the doctor is in and then she like flips it to in and out. I just wish I had one of those they could like put over the fence. Like, our dog is out, our dog is in, and then I would know. But whatever. My scout dog failed me. It's not her fault. He didn't bark at her. Which, I don't know why he didn't. Maybe he couldn't hear her over the leaf blower they were using. I don't know. This does not matter to you. It's just, that's why I'm a little frazzled and I'm a little flushed. Because I'm like, oh. It's warm work taking out your dogs and then being freaked out that someone's going to get injured in your own backyard. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I did make a connection between Breaking Dawn and my shirt because you see, this is Scarlet Witch for Multiverse of Madness, and this Wanda had magic babies. I mean, she invented them, but she made herself pregnant and she gave birth to them and all that jazz. So it fits. It really does fit. But fun positives. I, during my lunch break, was able to read a lot more Breaking Dawn. So we can officially watch Breaking Dawn, the movie, part 1. Because I am on chapter 21, page 407, which is in Bella's section. So, we got to the point where Bella and Edward broke a bed frame. But like, we don't see any of it. It's always off page. It's just like mentioned. So like, they definitely trashed a bedroom. The people who are cleaning like are freaked out. Like one of them is really freaked out for Bella, I guess. It's just odd. Like I don't understand. I mean, I guess they want people to like maintain the property, but it was just weird that it was like the description of them, I guess, seemed odd to me. I guess they were trying to make us understand that they were Brazilian, but also the description of them seemed odd to me. But anyway, we also got, so like, she just keeps being hungry, but like Edward is trying to distract her by doing all this stuff. So she thinks she's extra hungry because they've been doing all this like physical activity that is not the thing she wants to do. And then she like, Edward is gone. I'm glossing a bit. They do things a few times, okay? But he's gone and she's like ravenously hungry, and so she makes fried chicken, and then she's like desperately trying to eat it, and then she just starts getting sick and she thinks it tastes bad and it's off and blah blah blah. And Edward comes back and then she starts doing when was the last time I had my period math, and she's like, oh god, how is this possible? And then turns out she is pregnant. Like there's even like a bump. And so they like rush her back to Forks so Carlisle could monitor her. And then we jump to Jacob's section, which a lot happens in Jacob's section, because Jacob winds up starting his own pack. Unintentionally. He actually tries to just leave the pack because initially Sam was like, no, we won't attack them, it's fine. And like, he's upset, and he also finds out that Bella is back, but that they're saying she's like very, very sick. And he's like, no, they're lying, like she was getting turned, like like she's dead. I don't know why she's talking to Charlie, but blah, like all the stuff. But then he winds up going to see her and finding out she's pregnant, and then like everything changes. Like Sam goes from being like, we shouldn't hurt the Cullens, to they're obviously like, like the treaty doesn't matter, we have to get rid of it. And Edward initially had wanted and they just say remove it. Like it's a very weird discussion, but they like want to just take the baby out of Bella because it's like, they're like, we don't know what this is, like we don't know if you can even survive this. But she has called Rosalie, so that was the thing that happened in her section. She called Rosalie, and Rosalie, because she so desperately wanted a child, is on board for completely protecting Bella and is not letting them do anything that will harm Bella or the baby. Really the baby, but she's being very protective of Bella. So Jacob sees her, and Edward's like, I was gonna have to come find you anyway because I needed to talk to you, because he thinks Jacob might be able to convince her to not have the baby, and like they can remove it, and then she could start life over with Jacob and they could have babies together, because biologically she and Jacob can have children. And then that really doesn't work. And she's like adamant that she's keeping the baby, that she insists is a boy for some reason. I don't know why. She keeps saying it's going to be a boy. But like she looks awful. And then during all of this, Seth and Leah join Jacob's pack, because Leah says that she wants to take care of Seth, who's her brother, but also she doesn't have to hear everyone anymore. Like she doesn't have to hear Sam, she doesn't have to be in Sam's brain, because once you leave, the mind, like the mind meldy thing, is only for that pack. So now only Seth, Leah, and Jacob can hear each other. They can't hear the other pack. They're also now running like perimeters and keeping the Cullens updated, because they're now trying to protect the Cullens and Bella, because he does not want them to kill Bella, because Sam said like, we'll just, like the idea would be they would kill Bella and the baby at the same time. So that's not happening, because they're running patrols, and now they're smaller in numbers because of the descent, because Seth and Leah left. And so that's like hindering their ability to like go on the attack. The Cullens do need to hunt. So like Carlisle is talking to Jacob about like what they should do, how they should hunt, because he doesn't want to violate the treaty any further, but like they need to feed. Bella also, during a conversation, Jacob casually like is thinking about and talking about like, well, maybe like it needs blood, like maybe it's feeding off of her, or like he's just like assuming the baby is a vampire, which makes sense. So Bella winds up having to drink human blood to feed the baby, which is good for her and the baby, because now she's not like dying, but the baby is growing rapidly and altering, and eventually the baby just gets like so big, and she bends over because she drops a cup of blood. It's a whole thing. The placenta detaches, and then they have to do like emergency baby delivery time, where she's like souped up on morphine because they know they're gonna have to bite her or like put venom in her. And then like Edward asks Jacob to give him permission to do it, because he's like, can you, without violating the treaty, like you're the descendant of the person who created the treaty. So Jacob says, yes, I give you permission if it's the only thing that you can do, so she doesn't like die. Jacob has also like, he now relates more to Leah because he has seen Bella and Edward as like a couple now. And he even like, he's in so much pain that Edward like feels it, because he can see inside Jacob's mind. He like gives him the keys to Bella's new car, I think, the one that's not a tank, and he tries to imprint on someone, because he's like, if I imprint, I won't feel anything anymore for Bella, which is why Leah thinks that imprinting would be helpful. I'm gonna get into something Leah related in a sec. I need to sip of this, I'm sorry. Okay, so he tries to imprint, doesn't find anyone in the place he is. I think it's like, he says like Seattle, Tacoma area. I don't know. He's at a park. But that doesn't work. He comes back. The birth is happening. He has to do CPR to keep Bella alive. She gets super venomed. That sounds like a superhero movie. And then her turning begins, and her section starts with her turning. And then Jacob imprints on Renesmee, which I knew was going to happen, and I still don't like it. But it's fine. Like, I knew it was going to happen. I just don't like I don't like that you can imprint when they're that, like, when the woman is that young. It's so weird to me. The other thing I wanted to bring up, I glossed over this in a different book, but when Leah I read them all too close together. When in the Jacob epilogue for one of the books, oh shoot, is that? It has to be New Moon. Yeah, it has to be New Moon. Where she sees, like, she dreams that she kissed Bella, and Jacob calls it, like, gender confusion. We then get into this, like, discussion of gender specifically with Leah, where she's like, I think I'm a werewolf because I can't have kids, which is complicated because, like, she thinks she's now going through menopause, even though she's 20, because once she turned, she stopped having a period. But, like, she thinks that it's because she was not ever supposed to have children, or, like, she didn't think she could have children. And then she's like, well, I don't think I'll be able to imprint because imprinting, according to Sam, is all, like, based on genetic, like, having the best children, which is so weird. And so we, like, get into that, and then she's like, well, I'm just a wolf because I can't, like, produce wolves. And I was like, but you don't know. And, like, Jacob's trying to make the argument, like, you don't know, like, it could just pick back up when you stop shifting. Maybe it's just because you're still shifting, and, like, once you stop and start aging again, like, maybe you could. And Leah is, like, very adamant that she doesn't think she can. And I'm like, that's so strange that you, like, think you're a lesser human because you can't, like, a lesser woman because you can't have children, which in theory would make sense based on slightly like the religious beliefs of Mormonism, like the whole, a lot of religions, when you get married, your soul, like, and even sometimes just being a woman, like, your sole goal is to be a mom. And I know in Mormonism, they do want you to have children, like, produce children. So I suppose coming at it from that angle, she would be less of a woman if she can't ever have a biological child, which I think is ridiculous. But I'm just saying, like, that's my, they're barking, which probably means someone is barking outside, or there's a loud motorcycle or a loud car. I really do have to go because I have to deal with trash. It's trash day tomorrow. I have to go put some stuff together and tag it. But, oh gosh, she's not gonna stop. Okay. I had points I wanted to make. They were quick. I was almost done. Maybe he'll stop. Maybe. I'm gonna try and be quick. Or there could be people outside the house. Anyway, but, like, I could see coming at it from a religious standpoint where you were raised to think that you, like, to fulfill your mission on earth is to, like, get married and have kids. That if you can't have kids, then, like, not having them would mean you hadn't fulfilled your, like, purpose on earth. So, like, I guess based on that, I can see where Leah's coming from, but I still think it's, like, crappy to have her thinking that about herself. And even when Jacob tries to convince her otherwise, she's like, man, I'm menopausal, it doesn't matter. Which, menopause and not having a period are different. Also, stress can stop your period. Like, they've been doing a lot of things that could just be causing her naturally to not have a period. Also, if she's in wolf form, it would get complicated because girl dogs bleed when they're in heat. So it would be different. Like, I'm not getting into this. It's just, like, her biology changes when she shifts. So I'm just like, maybe you haven't got, like, I don't know, maybe there are things I don't know. But yeah, so I just thought it was interesting that we, like, focused on that. And, like, gender confusion is a weird term to me, and they used it previously. They have not brought it up again. But I only thought of it because they do a lot of, like, well, hey, like, maybe you're gay because you let a little girl put makeup on you and you only have eyes for this 2-year-old. And I was like, that's inappropriate. It was very early on. It was a conversation Jacob was having in this book, and I just didn't like it. I was like, yeah, I get you're joking, but also, like, I don't appreciate the sort of, like, weird, like, no homo moment that was happening. But I guess it's also a product of its time. I don't know. I just didn't like it. And then that gender confusion thing had stuck in my mind from another book, because I just didn't bring it up. But, like, that phrasing is typically used when, like, for places that are not very accepting of gay people. But I will say that technically the Mormon Church is not super pro that. So it may just have been, like, a phrasing that Stephanie Meyer had heard and she just repeated it. without any second thought to it. Like, that's not, sometimes people use words that they know, even if they don't think other people might not like them. So I just, like, that stuck in my mind. So those are the only things I want to talk about. That was a very long update though, but I'm really far. We're gonna watch part 1 tonight at some point because Krista has court, and then hopefully I can finish this tomorrow, and then we can watch a movie because she has court Thursday, and we have, I don't know when else I'll have time. I really wanted to get this up before the week was over, so fingers crossed I can finish the book tomorrow. But yes, so I'm gonna go. I have to deal with trash and I have to cook dinner, so I gotta go. All right, talk to you later. Hello! All the dogs are yelling because we turned the TV off. So this is gonna be really quick. We watched Breaking Dawn Part 1. Not to be confused with Part 2 because we're both holding our finger up. But we watched Part 1. I thought the movie was good.
I like all of the movies in this series. Eclipse is still my favorite, but
yeah. No, I liked it. They have a lot more of the wedding in it than in the book. And then, Brain. The honeymoon is kind of the same. They just changed some of the activities that they're doing. And then the only thing that I noticed that was a big difference is there's so like the imprinting happened in what I had already read. But then the wolves are there and trying to kill Bella, when in the book, Jacob's like, oh, they're down 3 people, you're fine, don't even worry about it, we'll run perimeter checks, no one's coming. And no werewolves attack. Like, nothing happens in the book. I mean, maybe it's happening later, but in the, like, birth to Bella turning into a vampire, that doesn't happen in the first half.
Made me solidify no babies. No non-fur babies.
Yeah, it was very
otherwise scene. But even I don't even want to see that. That's
but yeah, so it was good. It was a pretty thorough adaptation. Like, line for line sections were taken from the book. But no, it was good. I need to finish the book so we can watch part 2. And that's really it. I feel like it's really hard to, like, explain the movies except to say, like, I liked them. They were good adaptations, I thought. I like that they're not doing stupid filters anymore. Also, everyone looked less pale. And also, Edward somehow didn't sparkle in the sun even though that man was on a beach. Kind of a lot.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah, I'm guessing they just didn't want to pay for it.
Yeah, I think they were just like, yeah, people won't notice.
They didn't really have wolf CGI until, like, the last hunk. So maybe they were using a lot of the CGI budget on Bella for the looking very corpse-like.
Oh, yeah, she was grotesque.
Yeah, she's losing... Well, she is falling apart because the baby is sucking all the life out of her.
Yes. As they do.
I mean, that is true. If you are pregnant, the baby gets your nutrients before you get your nutrients.
Chompity chomp.
But they made hers way worse. Like, in Vampire Diaries, when Caroline has the magic babies, she just desiccates. So, like, she just starts turning into, like, a statue. Because she's trying to eat my hand, it's fine.
She gesticulates a lot.
I know. They should know this. I gesticulate in every clip. But we gotta go because the dogs are getting very anxious. Even though they were just out less than 2 hours ago? 2 hours ago,
2 hours
max?
ago.
We took them out before we watched the movie because it has dogs in it, so Parker can't watch it. And Bruni is hit or miss on being able to watch a movie with dogs in it. Sometimes
the girls could care less.
Yeah, it's just the boys. If the dogs make sounds or do certain things, then they get really rawr, and they bark at the TV and it's the whole thing. But yeah, so it's good. I'm very intrigued.
Catherine only barks sometimes at the TV. It's
Occasionally.
been getting better. I give her a treat if she doesn't react, and it's been working well.
I do talk at the TV. Like, a lot, though. I really do. But we're gonna go, because we gotta do outs, and then get ready for bed, probably. Ah! And I gotta brush my teeth. That's a before bed thing I have to do still. But yeah, so we're gonna go. But movie was good. I had a nice time watching the movie. Goose was in here then, but now she's eating because her brothers were stealing all her food.
Goosey Goo is cute.
She was very cuddly. She was running around a little bit, and at one point she posed on the bed like a werewolf. She was like, it was adorable. We're gonna go because we got stuff to do, and I'm gonna try finish the last 300-ish pages tomorrow so that we can watch the movie. But yeah, so we will talk to you later. You'll probably see me solo first because I'll have to finish the book before we get to the movie. We'll talk to you later. Bye. Hello. Okay, so I was gonna do a morning update, but I was really tired this morning, and like it's super rainy and kind of chilly, so I just didn't. I did read this morning, and I listened to that Horror Queers episode of Personal Shopper that I mentioned, so that was really fun. I did just watch Personal Shopper because the Kristen Stewart movie yesterday. Yes, I think I finished it yesterday, 2 days ago, somewhere there. I watched it this week. Days blend together. Also, I'm still pretty tired, even though this is my second cup of coffee because it's after lunch now. Well, technically is lunch now. Anyway, I'm gonna take a sip of this. So like, my lunch break is ending, and that's why I'm doing the update now, because I have a couple minutes before I have to go back. But I've been reading a bunch. I'm actually pretty close to done. Like, I am going to finish this today. And I thought since I hadn't quite finished, I would update you now. So I am on page 665 of this version, which is chapter 35, Deadline. So, okay. The point I had stopped at was Bella was going on her first hunt, but she hadn't gone yet. So a lot of this section has been like marveling on how she's able to like control herself, and she's not attacking anyone, and she's not acting the way any of them expected a newborn to act, especially Jasper, even though he's keeping like a close eye on her. She has also finally gotten to meet Renesmee, though everyone calls her Nessie, because that's what Jacob calls her. So like, everyone's calling her Nessie, and she hates it. And so the other odd thing is that Renesmee is growing at a very interesting rate. Like, she is maturing very quickly. And so she can talk, she can walk, and she's technically 3 months old. She might be 6 months old now because there was like a little bit of a time jump in what I read. So a lot has been going on, and I'm trying to remember what all I have mentioned. So when we watched the movie yesterday, I did point out that the wolf thing hadn't happened in the book. It technically has happened at this point. It happened a couple chapters after what I had read, but it was all off page. Like, it was a flashback. So it did happen, but Bella was not aware of it. So it did happen. It's just not in the book, which for a movie, you'd want something like that in a movie. So I can understand why they put it in instead of doing it as like an off-page mention, which happens a lot in this. There are action scenes that are just like off-page. Like, we aren't there. They're just relayed to Bella, especially since this is her section now. I'm drinking more coffee, sorry. So we've gotten that, and sorry, I really need a sip of coffee. I'm so tired still. I'm at a little espresso pod, so I couldn't even cheat and make one of those, I think I told you, I call them dead eyes because I'm always really tired, like dead tired. But anyway, so she found out about that, and she's actually been okay being around everyone, even Charlie. So Jake showed Charlie that he was a werewolf. He has not told him what Bella is, because technically he's not allowed to know, but he has been made aware of what Jacob is and stuff like that. I also think he's getting with Sue, not Jacob. Jacob is imprinted, which I knew was happening. He had already done it when I stopped, and it's still weird, and I appreciate that Bella was like, "What? My kid? You imprinted on my kid? What is wrong with you?" And I'm just like, oh god. And now they're saying like the reason she constantly kept wanting him around her was that Renesmee in the womb wanted him, which, no thank you. I also appreciate that she has the same reaction to me, which is like, well, right now you don't want to be her husband, but later, bleh. Which is my exact thought. Like, I don't get why, like, Renesmee is aging rapidly, but I still don't understand why he couldn't imprint on her later. But I do understand for the plot, he needs to be able to imprint so that she's protected. Krista has pointed this out to me numerous times because it does make sense plot-wise because now the wolves can't hurt her, but still, I don't like it. I know, I keep bobbing out of camera. I just really need coffee and I don't want to keep holding it because the cup's really hot. He imprinted, and now Jacob's just around all the time. Seth and Leah are sometimes around, but very rarely. Bella only really lost it when she found out about the imprinting, and she tried to take out Jake. And Seth stopped her, and then she felt horrible, but Seth is fine. He even told her, like, I'll be fine, just give it a couple hours, like, I'll be totally fine. And we've gotten into the fact that, so a lot of things have happened. Alice has been trying to see what's going on, and Irina, who was in the movie, okay, so Irina was in the first Breaking Dawn movie, but she's not in the first part of this book. But she's been mentioned to us before. She shows up in Forks, because she hates Bella because of Laurent, and sees Renesmee and assumes she is an immortal child, which was a whole thing in this book. Like, they like told us about immortal children, and people kept making immortal children, and it was terrible, and the Volturi killed them, and Arrow like studied some, I guess. And again, what's so interesting to me is every like smaller female vampire who almost seems childlike, like one is introduced later, and Renesmee is half vampire, so it works. They all have exceptionally curly hair, and I'm like, that's Claudia. We're just talking about Claudia. That's the whole thing for the Interview with the Vampire movie. She hates her excessively curly hair and tries to chop it off a few times. Like, I just keep picturing Claudia. I'm so sorry. Kristen Stewart's baby is Kirsten Dunst. Kirsten Dunst? Kirsten Dunst. That's what's happening in my brain. And I know they're going to show me Renesmee in the next movie, besides the infant we saw in the first movie. And I'm not prepared for that, because I think I've seen clips of her, and if I remember correctly, they use like an animatronic or something, and I'm not on board for that, but whatever. I know she ages up pretty quickly, because we've already seen like older versions of her in Jacob's brain. So yeah. Yes. Oh gosh, I got so sidetracked. Sorry, I'm very sorry. The Claudia thing throws me off every time. But Charlie has gotten to meet Renesmee in the book, which is nice. And Renesmee, before she could speak, and she can still do this, she can communicate by touch. Like, if she touches your hand, or she touches you with her hand, she can give you images that she has seen in your brain. So she, like, shows Bella everything that she missed while she was a vampire, like, becoming a vampire. And she can see, like, Renesmee's thoughts too, so she knows about her connection to Jake through that, even though Jake did also have to tell her. So that was all going on. And we've also gotten to the point where Bella is an exceptional vampire who is just perfect. She's also the perfect shield. She, apparently her ability to not be affected or viewed psychically means that she is something called a shield. They had a character appear and explain it. So it's a defensive skill. And they are working on getting her to be able to extend it to other people. And it has worked, just like sometimes it doesn't work as well as she wants it to, because she has to be really angry when she's using it, is the only way she's been able to control it. So that's interesting. Then what else? But I mean, you all know this. The Volturi are coming because Irina went to them. I did stop that sentence. Irina went to them and told them, and Alice saw that. So Alice and Jasper are on the run and not telling anyone anything, but they are getting allies together to bear witness, not to fight for the Cullens, which of course they're going to. A number of them have already been like, we'll fight with you if it goes poorly, and like, we think it's going to happen. But Alice has them collecting allies. She has sent the Amazons, which I was like, what? That was an interesting choice. I was like, there are Amazons? Why are there Amazons? So she sent the Amazons. There are a number of other people. More of the Denali people have come. That sounds so weird. The people from Denali, Alaska. So there are a lot of people there. We have also met the Romanians. There are 2 remaining Romanians who were not destroyed by the Volturi, and they're like, we're gonna kill them. Like, we want them gone. Like, we will take them, we will poke out their eyes, they'll be done. And everyone's like, oh god. And they're like, what? We're gonna fight them. It's fine. Which I do appreciate. The Romanians are kind of humorous, actually, because they're just kind of like, no, this is a fight, and we're here to fight. We don't care what else you're doing. We're just going to take them out because they took our stuff. Which I get. I really do. Because one is Vlad, and I'm sure he's supposed to be Dracula. Like, duh. Also, the other one is Stefan, and I was like, you obviously read Vampire Diaries, right? Like, there's no way she didn't. Like, I just keep thinking she must have. Like, what other reason is there to put Stefan as one of the characters? But anyway, so that's all going on. And they're preparing for the Volturi to arrive. Alice is still not back. Oh, I got a cough. Sorry, the weather is gross, so I knew my asthma would be a little weird. And it is. But Alice left a secret message for Bella to go to a man in Seattle, and so she has gotten fake paperwork made for Jacob and Renesmee so they can go into hiding. they have very interesting names. Their last name's gonna be Wolf, which is funny. But she has those, she's waiting for those, and everyone's just kind of like getting ready for the Volturi to arrive because they know it's coming. Alice gave them a timeline before she disappeared. And so like they're just hiding. Like no one can know where Alice is. Alice isn't letting anyone know. She just kind of appears and disappears without telling anyone where she's going or what's going on. We've also learned that the heads of the Volturi, the 3 guys, have wives because they're bringing the wives with them. And I'm like Dracula's wives, do you all have like 3 ladies who hang out with you? Because I feel like 3 is the magic number for wives in this book. Also, technically, when I was doing all of my like FLDS, the fundamentalist version that is not legitimate, I suppose they see themselves as legitimate, but that doesn't matter. It's not the official like Latter-day Saints church. They also thought 3 was like the peak wife number, and so I'm like, are they gonna each have 3 wives? Because like we also made it so that one guy had 3 wives, and just like I feel like there's so much Mormon allegory like in here, which makes sense. She is Mormon. I'm sure she would use it to her advantage. Like she just has knowledge. I also would like to point out, because I know I talked about Leah and her saying she can't have a child. We have not gotten into that anymore. I really want Leah to have a kid, just or like find someone that she loves, just because I'm like, but maybe I don't. I don't like that Leah has decided that she's not woman enough because she can't have kids, and it annoys me because if we use that as a thing, then Bella being able to bear a child, then become the perfect vampire with like the perfect power for this fight, makes Bella the perfect woman. Like just the perfect exhibit of womanhood for eternity. Which also I'm not gonna talk about this because I don't know enough about like the heaven setup for the Mormon church, and I don't want to get into it. But I'm just wondering if there are other things. But yeah, like basically we've set Bella up as the perfect woman, which I knew would happen because she's not like other girls. So of course she's perfect, which I knew would happen. But oddly enough, I am enjoying Breaking Dawn the most, even though it is massive. But there's always stuff happening. So there's not as much pining. There's just like action-y stuff or like preludes to action-y stuff. So I am liking that. Even if we have definitely gotten to the point in the series where Bella is definitely the perfect woman forever. Which does annoy me a little bit. Like I want her to have a flaw, but she has no flaws. And I'm like, how does she not have a flaw? Her klutziness as a human was her flaw? That was it? I just whatever. It works for the plot that she has no flaws, of course, because she's our peak heroine character. That's not spelled the way you think. I mean, what did someone say? He says you're my own personal brand of heroine. I'm adding the E. So it's not the drug. But yes, so I'm gonna go because I do have to get back to work. But I will fill you in after work because I'm definitely gonna finish this by the time work is over. I also might do some Latter-day Saints Googling, which I'm sure my phone loves because I get weird ads now on Spotify for churches. But I'm gonna look a couple things up and see if my thoughts were correct or if I'm drawing like a very broad, I don't really know anything about Mormonism thing. But yes, so we're gonna get into that. But yeah, I will finish it and then tonight we'll watch the movie. But I'll fill you in on my thoughts on the end of the book before the movie. But I gotta go, so I will talk to you later with the final Breaking Dawn book update. Bwahaha. Oh my gosh, so much Twilight, so much Twilight. All right, I gotta go. Bye. Okay, it's after work. It's well after work. Dogs are playing. Dogs have been outed and fed, and I am back up here. So you're gonna hear dogs being very excited about life. But I finished it. I finished Breaking Dawn. Though I had to double check what I had already told you because I had so little left that then I was like, what did I already tell them? Because I talked to Krista about it too. Like we were texting about it and we talked about it during lunch. And so I was like, wait, what did I talk about in that clip? Because I like could not remember. But I did finish it. So Bella went and got fake documents from Jasper's contact, which was the secret message from Alice. So she's like fake paperwork for Jacob and Renesmee in case they need them. And we're really just waiting for the Volturi to show up. So like the witnesses have been collected. They are willing to talk to the Volturi and more of them keep coming. And then we've realized that Bella can like shield more than just herself. So they're like practicing that, which means she has the perfect power. Like, we have determined she has the perfect power. I've already said she's the perfect heroine for this scenario. So she'll be able to protect everyone from Jane and Alec, as well as, like, anything else that involves, like, mental stuff. And actually physical, because she can protect them from Kate's zappy thing. But Kate's technically on their side. So yeah, so we get to the big climax of the Volturi arriving, and there's not that many pages left, so there's no big fight. Like, I was really preparing for it, and everyone's like revved to fight, like, I'm gonna take you, and then nothing happens because Alice reappears. Like, okay, Irina dies. I think just to try and, it's really just like get them to fight. One of the three guys kills her for having like spoken falsehoods against Renesmee. Whatever. He's just trying to get them to fight. But so Alice arrives, and she actually has another half human, half vampire being. And it turns out that he was created, but his mother was killed. He also has half sisters, and their mothers were also killed. So there is a vampire who is creating these like half human, half vampire children. He thinks it's like he's like doing research. It's also odd because they say like he has venom and the girls do not, which means the girl vampires can't turn anyone, but the boy half vampire can, which is interesting. It's like, I don't know if it's genetic or it just so happens to be this way, which is interesting because it would mean that only, Chloe's barking, that only the male half vampires could in theory sire another vampire. And I believe he has sired his aunt, because he's 150 and she's still alive. So yeah, he would have had to. Chloe's still barking. I don't know what is going on. Oh my gosh, I'm having the worst time concentrating because I didn't have that many pages left, and I had kind of a busy work day, and then we did dog outs, and there's been like a little bit since I finished the book, and now my brain is like, what did you read? Do you remember? So like there is no big battle. We do learn that Renesmee / Nessie will come to full maturity in 6.5 years. Which like makes Bella and Edward both really uncomfortable because of Jacob, which again, I would also be very uncomfortable, because I still think the imprinting thing is weird. I'm sorry, I just do. Also, it's very interesting to me because the other half vampire appears to be some, they don't really get into it, they say what people it is, but like it sounds like another indigenous population, which makes me think Stephanie Meyer is like really into indigenous populations and like using their lore for her writing, because this would be the second one that she's included, which is an interesting choice. I just think it's interesting, that's all I'm saying. So we really just like end the story, like everything kind of ties up. There's no big fight, everyone goes to their separate corners. The Volturi go back to being the Volturi, which again, the Volturi keep reminding me of the freaking, like, I really think it's supposed to be Catholicism. Like, I feel like the Volturi are Catholics. Like, that's just, I keep getting, like, white hats, saints, basically Rome, well, Vatican City, which is not Rome, but you know what I mean. And then like the Romanians keep calling them saints, or like saying they want to be saints. And then, okay, remember I was saying like I didn't want to draw like big generalities because I don't know a lot of things about Mormonism or the Church of Latter-day Saints. Well, I did some Googling and was on an official Latter-day Saints page that talks about heaven and like what becomes of you after death. And so in one of those, it does discuss the fact so there's a lot on this. Apparently there used to be this like myth about the church that like men had to allow their wives into heaven, which does not make any sense. And there were a number of things where like, this is false. Like, we don't know why people thought that. But the idea here is that there was a discussion of how a man should have a wife and a wife should have a husband. Like, you can go to heaven if you are unmarried, but the idea is you like enter in, I don't want to say more perfectly, but having a like coming as a husband and wife in some capacity. Like, you don't have to die at the same time, but entering heaven espoused benefits you, and also that once you have gone to heaven, you can achieve a sort of similar to God status. Now, you will never be the same as God, and you will never be above God, but as the children of God, you can gain qualities and become more like God and less like a human. And as I was reading all that, I was like, I was right. This is what I was thinking. Twilight, in theory, for Bella. Oh, there's so much yelling. There's a lot of squeak toys. Krista hates squeak toys. But back to my thing. Bella, in theory, I'm not Mormon. This is based on Google and the Church of Latter-day Saints website. It's really Bella becoming the perfect Mormon? technically, she becomes godlike in that she becomes a vampire, and the vampires take her into their family like you would be taken in with your family in heaven. Because in Mormonism, you go with, like, you become part of your family, like your family is all together. So she's part of this familial unit that has achieved a godlike status on Earth. Their heaven is also different. There's like things, I'm not getting into that. But in theory, if we look at this, because she does technically die, she has achieved peak Mormon existence. Because she is like God. She is she's espoused. She has a husband. And they've also had a child. And according to the thing I was on, having sex is totally fine as long as you want to have kids. And they had a kid. So I'm guessing because they can't technically, I mean, in theory, if we're looking at this as though they were in heaven, in theory, would be expected. You wouldn't have more kids. Because technically when you're in heaven, you are dead. So couldn't have babies, but you would be perfect. So I'm just like, is that it? Is this all secretly a parable of Mormonism? Like, she goes from being a gawky, awkward teenager to perfect human specimen with incredible powers that protect everyone she loves in her familial unit. And everyone is also perfect. I'm sure there are articles and things I could read, but like, that's what I'm getting. Because I knew there was something about like achieving greatness after death by like being godly and like of God and blah blah blah. But that's what I was looking up. And I feel like secretly that's what it is. I feel like the vampires are secretly just like really peak Mormons. They have done it. They have gained their godlike status for being very, very good people. And technically they have, because Carlisle has never killed a human. Rosalie did kill bad people. Edward has killed bad people. Jasper had to kill people, but he is still struggling and the least godlike. So technically, am I correct? Are the Cullens technically Mormon heaven beings? I don't know. I should not Google things, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like I'm on the right track. I'm very poorly explaining it, but I feel like I'm on the right track. I'll have to look up. I bet you there are articles. These have been out for so long. I'm sure someone has done like a Mormon analysis of the Twilight franchise. I'm sure they have. I am curious to see the second movie, which we are watching tonight, with champagne, because I wanted to celebrate that I did it. So yes, so there will be champagne. And yeah, I'm also wondering if there's actually going to be a fight, because I feel like in a movie a fight would be better to see than everyone just like standing around being like, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go. Oh, no going, we're going home, bye. So yes, we shall see. But yes, let me know your thoughts on my vague Mormon analyses that have occurred. It's not my fault. Normally I try not to think about the fact that, like, actually I don't typically even look this up. I don't look up really anything about authors. It's just like stuff I know. But I know she's Mormon. I even double checked it because I was like, I'm pretty sure someone told me she was Mormon. Which would make sense. We had a lot of Mormon kids at my high school. And I knew some of them were reading Twilight, which makes more sense if the author is Mormon. Because it doesn't seem like a book many of them would have read, because they didn't read a lot of like fantasy vampire fiction. So yes. But yeah, once I looked it up, then I couldn't get it out of my head while I was reading. So here we are with me making vague Mormon generalities. I'm sorry if I've offended anyone. Again, I don't know everything about Mormonism. I Googled and had vague knowledge. And then tried to verify my vague knowledge with like good searching. I really did. Some of it was Wikipedia, but I did also try and verify everything I found on Wikipedia with the official like Church of Latter-day Saints website, because they have like a whole thing that you can look through that explains like the teachings and where things came from. They don't talk about the polygamy though. Like they don't really want to talk about it. But yeah, so we're gonna watch the movie tonight, and then I'll do some kind of ending to the video. But yes, we've done it. We've read all the books that I'm going to read, unless someone wants to pay me to read the extra ones I didn't read. There's 3. I'd have to find 2 of them. But if you want to read them, I do accept cash. I'm kidding. But yeah, I'm not reading them. Oh, what if Krista picks them for the Pick My TBR? She might do that. We only own 1 of them. But she does have my library card. She could borrow them. She also has her own library card, but she uses, like, she picks up books for me all the time. But anyway, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna try not to think about the fact that in April I might be reading more Twilight, because I'm pretty sure I'm reading 50 Shades. Oh boy, that's gonna be fun. But I'm gonna go. I will give you thoughts with Krista on the final movie. So I'll talk to you later. Hello, you are precariously balanced on a fake candle. Krista is having some cereal. The cats are all very invested in that. But we're about to watch Breaking Dawn, Part 2. And to celebrate, we had champagne. So we're having champagne, or sparkling wine, because it's not from the Champagne region of France. Whatever. We're not fancy people. Let's see if I can open this. Sometimes I can and sometimes I can't. So let's see. Depends. Oh gosh. Oh, no, I got it. It might startle cats though.
She's bigger.
She is bigger. Got it. And you're gonna get a very fun pouring into our Love is Blind cups. We have not watched the most recent season,
Still good.
but still. Alright, wine is being poured. Now I have to concentrate on this because it's busy. But we're gonna watch the movie and then get thoughts on the movie. So we'll talk to you in roughly 2 hours. Bye. Hello! Goose did not sign her release waiver. She's very annoyed that I have insisted she be in this shot. Terribly sorry, kiddo. She was lying on Krista when the movie ended. But we finished it. Breaking Dawn, Part 2.
Did you like the book better or the movie? For me, it's the movie.
Yeah, I appreciate that there's actually a battle scene, even if it's just like Alice's vision. Because in the book, it's 90 pages, and then it's just, it's fine. We're gonna go. Which I get, like, there's no reason to fight at that point. But, like, this at least has the epic battle scene, and then it's like, and that's what'll happen if you do this. Which is funny. But no, I mean, most of it is pretty close-ish to the book, except for the battle scene, and then there was, like, tweaks for who filed to get the paperwork for Jacob and Renesmee. And we have seen that Jacob will be with Renesmee once she's 7 years older, because imprinting is weird. I still don't like it. Still don't like it. I don't. Sorry. But yeah. No, I thought the movie was good. It was super weird seeing a bunch of characters die.
Right?
Because I was like, what the frick is happening? I didn't say frick, but for Stephenie Meyer, I will not curse. Because I think she'd be deeply offended. She'd probably be deeply offended by this video at all. But yeah, I thought it was good. I am still very firm in my belief that the Volturi are supposed to be the Vatican. They wear robes. They're from Rome / Vatican City. Like, they're just very Catholic seeming. Also, they put on white hats and call themselves saints. And yes, we do frequently saint popes, which would work in this scenario. But yes, we had champagne. We hung out with kitties. We had a very fun movie watching time. This was an experience. I know many things now. I'll probably do like a tiny recap to end the video, just to tie things up. But yeah, I enjoyed the movies.
Favorite character out of the movies?
Probably Alice. I really like Alice. It's also funny to see Anna Kendrick in these because I feel like she had to be doing Pitch Perfect pretty soon.
After this.
Like right after, right? Because she doesn't really look any different.
Well, Anna Kendrick doesn't age. I think she
is a vampire.
Sold her soul to the same person as maybe Tom Cruise.
I mean, Kristen Stewart also doesn't age. Like, she looks the same. Like, I've watched more recent stuff with her in it, and she doesn't look any older. Everyone's a vampire in Hollywood.
Possibly.
But yeah, no, I had a very fun time watching the movies. I'm very surprised that I'm already done with the books. I thought that would take me longer. But yeah, so I've had a very fun time. We've bonded over Twilight things. Yeah. So you'll get an ending clip, and then that I read and watch all of the Twilight Saga for the first time is over. Are you shocked and amazed? Did you enjoy it? I'll say all of the shtick stuff in the ending bit, where I will try and dress like Bella. We'll see how I do. I'll give it a try. Alright, we're gonna go. We have puppies who need our attention because we did kitty time. I'm gonna give you a little close-up of the goose.
The goose is like, I did not sign a waiver.
Yeah, she really doesn't like that she's on camera. Hi. No, she hates it. She won't look at it.
Hi, Bob.
She will attack the strap. Yep.
Yep.
Okay, camera's going away. She will take out my whole camera. But yeah, so I've had a lot of fun, and I will talk to you later in the closing bit. So, hope you've enjoyed so far, and I will talk to you in what will be just a few minutes for you and a few hours for me. Bye. Ah, cats! Hi internet people, this is the last clip of I read and watch all of the Twilight Saga for the first time ever. This is my attempt at a Bella Bound. My hair is almost the same color as hers as the movies, like, cause she's kind of reddishy brown. So in the light, it looks redder for sure. So I'm gonna try and take a photo outside, probably during lunch, so I can post it, but I did my best to do minimal makeup, but a little bit of makeup. And then that's it really. I just have eye stuff on. I didn't put anything else on, but I finished all the books, all the movies. I will say my favorite movie of the 5 is probably still Eclipse, just because that action sequence is so good. I just really like that one. I do like the action sequence in Breaking Dawn Part 2, but because it's not real and it's like all this action happens and then that's what will happen to you. I'm like, oh, good, but also like, what? Because I was so confused when it started, and Krista said she was like yelling in the theater when she saw it, because she was like, that didn't happen, so I'm gonna rank the books. That's what I'm gonna do, which is gonna get tricky. Let's move these. All right, so this is my ranking. Hi, Tricky. I just elbowed him in the chest. Oh, this is so tricky. Let's see. I did not think about this in advance. I will say for the movies, Eclipse is my favorite. Then I'm gonna combine the Breaking Dawn movies, if that's okay. Because really they're the same book. Because it would be Breaking Dawn Part 2 first, but I'm just gonna say them together because they're the continuation of a story. But yeah, so I guess Eclipse, Breaking Dawn Part 2, then probably Breaking Dawn Part 1, even though they're still kind of together. They're just, I like them in the reverse. Then I like all the Jacob stuff in New Moon, but yeah, I think I'm gonna say New Moon and then Twilight for the movies. And then my book ranking is probably, if it weren't for the ending, because the ending of this one just stops. Like, we're just done. The action, there's no action at all. Is it the same? I actually think it's gonna be the same. So, Eclipse, Breaking Dawn, New Moon, and then Twilight is the order. So it's almost just going backwards, but Eclipse beats out Breaking Dawn because there's actually a fight scene. I had a fun time reading all of them. I will say the reading, like, they're not difficult to read, which is nice. I also did do some minor research, and very clearly there are a million articles about how Mormonism relates to the Twilight books, which makes total sense to me. I definitely get it. I see it. I understand it. I did not read these articles, admittedly, because I was like, I have made the connection myself and I'm tired. I'm not doing any deep dives. Sorry. So I didn't. But there are a bunch of articles. If you didn't realize that, or you hadn't really thought about it because you didn't know anything about Mormonism, I would just Google like Mormonism and Twilight, and there are a bunch. I also did not check that anyone has compared the Volturi to the Roman Catholic Church, but I'm making that connection as Roman Catholic. So my argument is the Volturi are the Roman Catholic Church, and basically everyone else is Mormons, different sects of Mormonism. But yeah, that's my argument for the entire series. The Volturi are Roman Catholics. It's too similar. They're in their own city in Rome. Like, it's too, for a raised Roman Catholic reading a book, it's too much. Like, I'm just like, obviously these are Catholics. So yes, so that's what I'm going with. That's my takeaway. Krista and I did talk about this. She is solidly Team Jacob, which I think she already said. In the movies, they make it slightly more love triangle-y. I don't know that I can pick a team, really, which sounds awful. Like, I would want her, really, to probably wind up with Jacob so she could have a kind of normal life, even though now he's a werewolf. But, like, the issue is that she points out, like, I was born to be a vampire, really. Like, she's just, like, so attuned to being a vampire as soon as she's turned. So, like, she's destined to be with Edward. And destined to be a vampire with Edward. There's no going around that. Like, that's going to happen no matter what. So, there's no arguing with it. Like, I can't make a good argument for her to be with Jacob because she won't do it. Like, she doesn't love him enough to be with him. And then they talk about this whole, like, well, remember those days where you, like, didn't want me away from you while you were pregnant? That wasn't you, that was Renesmee. And I'm like, oh, good lord, okay. So, I mean, by fate, she and Jacob never getting together. So, while Jacob is lovely for the most part, I actually liked his point of view in Breaking Dawn, and I thought they mellowed him out, which was helpful because he was just so aggressive towards her. And then once, which is a choice of the author. She also, I don't know why this is. I'm sure she has a reason. She is very, very fixated on Indigenous peoples. Like, technically they're shapeshifters because we learned that there are real quote-unquote werewolves in Europe that are almost dead because of Caius, I think. He lost a fight to one and then he, like, tried to exterminate the entire werewolf thing, and then Edward's like, oh yeah, they're definitely werewolves, we just didn't bring it up, which is a random aside since we're never going to meet them. But she Stephenie Meyer has the shifters / werewolves be from an Indigenous population that lives in Oregon. Like, they exist. Like, those people exist. Just not in the way she depicts them. And then to end the book, the other half vampire is also from he's from an Indigenous population in Brazil. And I'm just like, I mean, I just don't know how to take that. Like, I'm just like, I appreciate the desire. I don't even think it's a desire for inclusion. I think it's just some kind of odd fixation. Like, she just wanted that in the book. And I don't know why. I don't know if she, like, I don't know. I don't want to make assumptions. I'm sure people have written better articles about this. I just think it's weird that you would decide that you've already focused on this Indigenous population that's actually from that area, which is a little odd to me. Like, I would think you would maybe make something up more, but maybe she won't. I don't know. I'm not going to speak to that because I know there are a lot of issues with that. She has not really given back to the tribe that she... Is it tribe? Yeah, technically. She just really hasn't done anything to compensate the peoples whose real identity, like real identities she borrowed. And then the other issue is I don't understand why we present these people from Brazil, even in the movie, in like very, I'm doing quotes, traditional Indigenous garb. I don't understand. I don't know. I also think it's odd that she has the Amazons who also appear like that. And I mean, yes, Amazons in other forms of literature do, but also the Amazons in Wonder Woman are in like armor. So I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't know why. I just don't know why. I don't. Because if they're feeding on human food and other things, I would assume the half vampires that appear also interact with people, like modern people, but maybe not. I just thought it was an odd choice. Just an odd choice to do. But yes. So I did have fun reading the books. I had a lot of thoughts. This second part has like all the Mormon thoughts. Because the farther you get in this franchise, the more Mormon everything seems to get. Again, not everyone is going to get that from these if you don't know things. My knowledge is very vague, so my discussions are vague. But I did my best. I really did. But I am very glad that I did this. It was fun. I had a really fun time watching the movies with Krista. And I had fun talking about the books and then explaining the differences because she hasn't read the books in a little bit. So she was like, wait, what happened in the book? So I was like explaining bits from the books that she had forgotten since it's been a while. So it was fun. I had a very fun time on this journey. I know there are 3 other Twilight books. One of them is over there. It's the one, it's the retelling of the first one from Edward's point of view. There's the Bree Tanner book, and then Midnight Sun. Again, I'm not reading those unless Krista manages to pick them in April, because I'm sure my library has them. So stay tuned for April when I read whatever Krista wants me to read. I have some books planned for the rest of this month. I'm gonna take a tiny vlogging break. So I'll have a video, but it won't be a vlog because these take a little time to edit. So I'm gonna go. I really hope that you enjoyed going on this journey with me. If you did like it or have your own comments, please leave them below. If you want to watch more vampire-y videos, I have a bunch. Most of them are queer. Really could not make this series queer. Couldn't do it. Really couldn't do it. There's just nothing. I just couldn't. There was a discussion of it. There were some comments about fanfic that exists, because I'm sure it does. And I feel like an Alice Bella fanfic could exist because Alice is so doting on Bella, but like no one is really on the page with her enough. And no one's really on the screen enough with her for it to like work as well for me, because I need more togetherness on screen. But yeah, so if you've seen wild fanfic, let me know, because I'm very curious. Excluding 50 Shades, which I'm very sure I'm reading in April. Let me know if you like this video. Please give it a thumbs up. I worked really hard to edit these and get all this content. And if you want to see more of me and all the Twilight photos I did, I'm also on Instagram at ClefGoEverAfter. So yes, if you like this, you can also subscribe, because I do a lot of bookish content, pop culture content. But yes, I think that's everything. So I'm gonna go. I gotta edit this video. Bye internet people.